Somebody got a TV going on this morning. Who got that TV going on this morning? Who in the world got that TV going on this morning? I ain't gonna call nobody. Look, I ain't gonna call nobody out. I ain't gonna call nobody out. But I know who it was. I know. Look, I know who it was. But look at good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem out of Atlanta, Georgia, but I got two of my brothers here this morning. These are my brothers from another mother, but we got the same fathers. This is first Badger. Badger, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, it's just another day to be thankful for being a servant.
There you go. There you go. And watch this. Watch this. Mr. Hicks. Yeah,
Hey,
almighty. Good morning,
hey,
sir.
greetings. Good morning, family.
Look at this.
Good day.
Look at the
Great.
wisdom. Greetings, everyone. My name is Mr. Hicks. My name is Mr. Hicks. Go ahead, boy. You all right with me? But listen, I want to ask y'all this question, man. In this world in which we live in, what is it going to take? Mr. Hicks, I'm gonna start off with you this morning.
Hmm,
What is it going to take for us to get to a place where love could reign supreme?
hmm. Wow. What will it take? Ah, man, man. If I knew that answer, if I had the answer for that clearly, that I, what will it take?
For love, all this
Yeah,
hate, mistrust,
it, yeah,
division, all the
it,
other things, man. For love to absolutely reign supreme, Mr. Hicks, tell me, what is it going to take?
we're gonna need the
Mm-hmm,
truth of all things, the truth of history,
mm-hmm,
the truth of the damage done to all parties involved that
mm-hmm,
exist on this planet and have exist. I think it's going to take each person starting the process inside of himself,
mm-hmm.
become the kind of person he want to see in the world. Uh, it's it all rests with each person. It's all, almost funny you think about it, the interconnection of everything from a scientific perspective. When they talk about the atoms and the flowing of movement, and that the atoms that I have now flow through you, flow to everybody else. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same one source energy we're connected to. I think that once the hope he had a prophecy that one day man will waken up to his consciousness and everything would change overnight. It will be it would take a certain percentage of the people on the planet to rise at this consciousness, and it would cause a critical uh, sort of like in a metaphysical sense, a nuclear explosion
Mm-hmm.
that will go out and people will be transferred. They call that changing. The change and people will change in a twinkling of an eye kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's a good hope. It's a good thing to have your hope on. It's a
Yeah.
good thing when you see all the stuff around you, thinking that uh, one day
There's a
that
possibility.
Bobby Womack, that said one day we'll all be
Mhm.
free. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Wow. Badger, what do you say to that, man? What is it going to take in this world in which we live in so we could get to a place where there's absolute love and love reigns supreme over everything? The hate, the jealousy, the division, where love absolutely reigns supreme. Badger, what is it going to take for us to get there?
Get rid of the word I.
Mm-hmm.
I creates selfishness. I creates greed.
Mm-hmm.
Use the word we instead of I.
Mm-hmm.
We are our experiences. We are the
We
descendants of
are
our
the
ancestors.
world.
Bingo.
We are the future. We are the one to make a brighter day. So let's. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, bro. Like every now and then a song will come. Miss Hicks,
Well,
like every now and then I get a song in my heart.
the,
Go ahead, Badger.
you brought up another passionate topic of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and you know this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me and Hicks has talked off cam off the show quite
Mhm.
off and on.
Mhm.
So Hicks kind of knows where my stance is on a lot of this stuff. And we have to learn a tool of introspection
Mhm.
to realize who we are in the situation. Are we going to be our emotions? Are we going to be what all these other people label us as? Are we going to be a human being that's a servant for a greater good? Um, that's why I make the comments I make about truth, um, love and light, the greed that's in our culture, and the selfishness in our culture. We are brought up in a society of selfishness.
How many people you think really want to get to that place that you're talking about, Badger?
I'm going to be honest. If the economy wasn't so jacked up, it wouldn't be so hard.
Mm.
People are so we've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
If
Am I
you
hearing
were
you
put
say? I'm jumping in a second or two, Badger. So basically, what I'm hearing you say is you think economics is the answer. If 'cause when you say the economy, you're talking about the economics of the money, and so if money wasn't an issue, you think that would be the catalyst that would bring everybody together, so we can live in that place of peace.
yes, I do.
Wow.
Here's my example for that. Yesterday we were talking about contaminated food
Mm-hmm.
and how like the Monsanto Corp, which is pretty much like the corp that has the patent on all these GMO products and pesticides and stuff that is being proven to be harmful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does Texas have a law saying if I grow too much heirloom corn, I can get a fine or prison time?
Mm-hmm.
Why is there a law for that?
If there wasn't
Why
if there wasn't a law, would that mean that people would actually get along better and we would have that place of peace?
you didn't you did hear what I said.
I
I'm
did.
talking about growing a vegetable
Mm-hmm.
that's not GMO, that's has more nutrients, that is the original product that grew in this country,
Mm-hmm.
and we are limited to how much we can grow of it by the
Mm-hmm.
laws of our country. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say I have this big massive garden, right? And I start giving it away. Depending on where you are, these corporations are going to try to sue you because you're hurting their money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a society, I mean, dude, I I have so much evidence of proof of this stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
not even funny.
I mean, that's
The
fine.
Lakotas growing hemp to
Yeah,
get away
that's
from
fine.
casinos.
Okay, but listen, that's fine, Badger. But my thing is this right here. I think, and everybody have their own opinion. That's how you feel. So that's your opinion. You have your own. I can't give you mine. But I think that, and I'm gonna go to Mr. Hicks on this as well. See what he think, or he may think differently from both of us. I think you could take money totally out of the equation, where money is not even an issue anymore. And I still think there will be they will come up with another source, another way of division, another way to divide, another way to hate one another. Even if money wasn't, if they say, look, money no longer, we don't, excuse me, we don't value money. Money has no value in our system anymore. I still think that they will come up with another way, because unless or until the money and cars and material things, all that's one thing. But I think unless you change the hearts of men, unless or until you change their heart, they're always gonna find something that's gonna divide. They're always gonna find a reason to hate or dislike or distrust somebody else. Mr. Hicks, I could be totally wrong. What do you think about that? Can't hear you, Mr. Hicks. Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Okay, my bad.
Wasn't me
Uh,
that time.
I know. Man, me and you
Mhm.
go stop.
Okay.
Stop it. Stop it. I was just joking anyway.
I know you was. I know.
I'm trying
That's
to
why.
learn how to be, I'm trying to learn how to add the humor to my personality,
There you go.
which goes into me sort of answering that question.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you come to realize, when I came to realize that there was two of me inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
There was something inside of me that wrestled against the teachings I had from my ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
I think when they put this country together with the whole Constitution and they set the structure up with all the faults of those people, those forefathers, I think they recognized something. There was something about human nature, unless that everyone had this here, and this selfishness,
Mm-hmm.
this greed. That's part of the flesh, I guess. It's part of what comes that we get from our DNA, from our parents, and down the line, things that are inside of us that we don't even subconscious. We don't know we're responding out something that our great grandfather responded out. There, we come in to this world in chains, a bondage, a bondage to trying to. And about that I think the I is important. I think because we're domesticated to think like, to be like the people around us, to be like the other, and whatever the culture is, that's coming out of the house, and you go into that world out there where the world is, then you come into your house where you got these principles, and there's a clash, and the I is trying to develop the I. Who am I? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when I find the solutions to this misery in my mind, to this pain that I feel, that make me react to the world the way I do, that's going to be some kind of spiritual thing. It's going to be some kind of thing that a power that's always been there, but I didn't know it, because no one wants to hurt, but I think so I've learned I have an option when I look out in the world. It is so easy to look out what's wrong, the bad things all around us, right? And that's almost the attention of all the national media and everybody around us. They want us to look at these things. They want us to be afraid about these things. The powers that's against this awakening inside the people want us to be afraid, want us to find fault with each other, want us to find fault in things. But at the same time, this is the funny thing about life, about how this thing is that it's always equal. It's like a tremendously bad time to be alive, but a tremendously good time to be alive. With the technology, with all the other things. So I get up in the morning and I have to literally have a list of things that I'm appreciative of. To be appreciative, to show gratitude that I'm here. I'm not making my heart beat. I'm not making this life in me happen. I'm not doing anything. I'm just here and I'm alive. And that's all grace. It's all mercy. And I'm gratitude of that. So I wake up and look out in the morning and I put on this AGT things where people get the golden buzzer and everybody be so happy. Because when I see that happen, even if it's artificial, when I see that happiness, when I see somebody that's wanted to get on that stage and they found on that stage and they get the golden bong and the emotion of happiness that come from that, it transfers inside of me. We got to choose what we're going to focus. I have had this thing. I glance at the bad things as I move forward. I don't look at them. I can't focus on them. I know what that does. It did it to me, a focus. I think that I walked around with so much knowledge and so much information around me about the world that it made me mean to the people in my environment. I couldn't be a nice person. I mean, I thought I was being nice. I thought I was being a good leader. But you find out when people grow up under your rule that you rule as a tyrant.
Yeah.
You do allow people to express their thoughts because they don't want to contradict what you were believing. But I preached too long. Tanya with a T gonna tell me to shut up.
Wow. Let's go to Leonard. Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
Good morning, Leonard.
Leonard,
Morning.
asking a question: how can we live? What is it going to take for us to live in the world where there's absolute love, peace, love and peace, compassion for each other? What is it going to take? What have to be eliminated from this existence so we could for us to get there, Leonard?
Nothing. Your world is you.
Mm-hmm.
You do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's your world. Just because you here don't mean that you are part of everybody else's foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't. I'm a Christian. I'm not trying to die and wait to die to go to heaven and all that. No, heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven on earth. I don't care if everybody else around me nasty as hell. I'm not gonna be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you run into people like this, those are the people you want to call your friend. Those are the people you want to call your brother. Those are the people you form community with.
Mm-hmm.
Those people who are actually working on building what Martin Luther King used from another concept called the beloved community.
Mm-hmm.
What my man Pastor Slaughter is doing down there, over in Mechanicsville area on Irish Street with that little church he bought and bought another building and another one, building the beloved community.
Mm-hmm.
Not worried about what all these devils around you are doing. See, ain't nothing worse than a man that want peace but that don't come in peace.
Mm. Mm.
You judge people by their behavior and what they do. People say one thing and do another.
Leonard, whose mindset would you more, if you was walking during that time, whose mindset would you grasp onto more, Malcolm or Martin?
It wouldn't be no or.
Mm-hmm.
It would be both.
You can't,
because both wanted the same thing.
But their approach was totally different, and so you cannot. I don't think you could have walked with Martin and had the militant mindset of not turning the other cheek that Malcolm had, because he spoke against that.
Well, I've walked with people that have walked with Martin,
Mm-hmm.
and I've learned from those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
And every man is entitled to a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have, you heard one line and you hate the man. No.
Mm-hmm.
Those men were on the same path.
But
and as long as people see, that's the problem. Good.
But Leonard, would you agree with me when I say that their approach was different? They was on the same path.
Most definitely, their approach was different.
Yeah.
But name a Muslim who has ever been violent.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
No, but
who did Elijah or Malcolm ever slaughter in the street?
Mm-hmm. I understand what you're saying. But my thing, I'm talking about the approach. And you're absolutely right. You have a great point there. No one. I know of, but still in all. But the approach was absolutely different, because Martin was more of the turn the other cheek mentality, and Malcolm was like, if he slap you, slap the frown him back, and he gonna stop slapping you. And so that's a different approach.
But you believe that he would turn the other cheek all the time. That's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because had you done something to
There's
his
no evidence
family,
of that. There's no evidence of that.
Had you done something to Martin's family,
mm-hmm.
you would have found out what he was about.
But see, that's no, Leonard, and we got to go. Like I said, man, you'll get into these long tennis matches. But my thing is this right here, though. I can't agree with that, and the reason why, because there's evidence of things that happened to himself. The dogs, the water hole, the being, all the different things that was done to him, and he stayed nonviolent. He stayed true to what he was preaching, which is admirable. He stayed true to it. He believed in a certain thing, and he stuck on that.
He was nonviolent, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
Once again, who did Malcolm, Elijah, or who has Louis Farrakhan been violent with?
Nobody. But who's been violent against them, so they could give you an example of what they would do if there were violence against them. That's my point.
They tried to kill those men several times.
I don't know about that, Leonard. But like I said, let's hold on. Let's stay right there. Don't you go nowhere, brother. Don't you go nowhere. We gotta keep this thing moving. I want to be fair to everybody. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? And Miss Hicks, I see you rubbing your chin. You got something on your head over there. We gonna come to you, brother. Badger, what's on your heart?
It's actually going to end up going in a direction that Leonard was going in.
I knew that. You always gonna walk with Leonard, man. You ain't gonna go against Leonard. We already know that. That's been established 2 years ago. But go ahead.
I mean, Leonard's my bro. So is Mr. Hicks.
Okay,
I talk to them a lot.
that's fine. But as you're an individual, you got to stand on your own, though, brother. How do you feel
Okay,
about it?
so here's the thing, though. I know you've heard Hicks and you've heard me say it and stuff like that. You're going to come across people that have a similar ideology. Yes, we are individuals and we can go about things in different manners,
Mm-hmm.
but we have the same enemy.
Mm-hmm.
We have a passion for certain things. Like there's things me and Leonard don't agree on.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with money. He don't.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what we do? And if he can vouch for it, we agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a taboo. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to argue and yell at him and call him all kinds of names, right?
But see,
No.
my thing is this right here. A lot of times, like you asked me yesterday, can I come behind Leonard? And I said no. I said, and there's a reason behind that. The reason why, because I know once Leonard laid a foundation, you're gonna walk on the foundation that he laid. I wanted to know what was on your heart. That's why I wanted you to go first, and then I bring Leonard after you. And then, because Leonard gonna tell the truth one way or another, whether he agree with you or don't. Leonard gonna tell you the truth. And I'm gonna tell you something. Truth of the matter, been doing that brother for a long time. He's a brother of mine. He don't care whether you like it or not. Whether and he don't care. He don't care who it is.
Oh
and
wait.
So if hold on, let me finish. If I go to Leonard first, he gonna lay a certain foundation, and once he lay that foundation, you're gonna say what you just said. Oh, I agree with Leonard. But if I let you go first and see how you think about whatever we're talking about, Leonard's gonna let you know whether he agree with that or disagree with that. He'll tell you that's a bunch of, and he used different words I try not to use, but he'll tell you that. And so that's why I did that, because I wanted to hear your heart before I went to Leonard. Because once Leonard,
I've disagreed with Leonard before.
2 times on this broadcast in the last 2 times on this broadcast, I can remember that you ever said I don't agree with Leonard on this right here, and you did not say it on air.
Because we are on the same path.
No. On everything.
On the path of righteousness, yes.
Wow. Okay. Okay. If that's the picture y'all paint, that's beautiful. That's fine. Go ahead, Badger.
So, in my eyes, through my native teachings, the whole concept, you can't have a utopia.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, because the unfortunate thing about being a human being, I'm not even gonna say unfortunate, because it isn't. There are a lot of times where we learn our biggest lessons by something that's negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes being calm and sweet and things like that don't get your attention. It doesn't get our attention. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
We're human. I mean, think about kids. There are times where you can do that nice, positive, reinforcement stuff, and it works in some situations. And in other situations, you might have to ground them.
Mm-hmm.
Or punish them in some way. So you have to do a negative response to get them to understand something. How about when kids are exploring things and they put a light socket, they put forks in a light socket or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you going to punish them, or are you just going to sit back and wait for them to get electrocuted?
That's a shocking experience.
Exactly. So in life, I'm a firm believer that evil is a necessary thing. But we are out of balance. There is more evil than there is good. I'd say by 51, 52%, leaning more on the corrupt, twisted side. It ain't by a lot, because there's a lot of good people in this world that work hard. Just about everyone that calls in to the Morning Glow are activists, are involved in communities, we're out here teaching and helping other people. Our heaven is here. Man, I get angry and upset by how corrupt and twisted our government is and things like that. But yet, in that same breath, I listened to the stories Cassandra share, or Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks came across a random dude, saw his need, chose to be a servant, and gave him a roof over his head. Tell me how that's not good, how that's not love and light.
Mm.
It exists, it's here. There's just a lot of things that want us to not see that it is still here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think anyone said that it does not exist, or we talk about a world of absolute love and peace and things of that nature. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart? We got a caller. We're going to go to your next caller. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, I sort of lost the point, but I want to say one thing that I was inspired. The brother that's active there, you know, I do admire him, you know, because I know it takes a certain mentality and even ability to deal with people on the front line. You guys excuse my memory. I'll be 74 in a couple of months, right?
You go.
What's the brother right there? Always what's your brother's name?
Which one, Leonard?
Leonard, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Leonard. Brother Leonard. I'm really, you know, I know what it takes to be an activist. I know what it takes to be out there and deal with people and try to organize and deal with things. And but I want to say a thing that Badger, I was inspired to change a mindset of mine by Rico. Rico took in someone. Rico took in someone that I rejected because I thought the brother was weak and he, you know, and I thought like, wait, I can help you if you're trying to do something for yourself. And I was sort of hard with that, but I watched how Rico took the brother in, and I watched the small changes. I see him when I do talk to him. You know, when I see him, I put a few bucks in his hand, I talk to him, and he's always respectful for me. But so I was inspired by that. And this situation has happened, you know, because I had another load with a bunch of stuff happened to my family. But I don't believe in accidents and coincidence. I think you meet people that God guides across your path. And so I try to learn to listen. That's the valuable skill I've learned, and it's really helped me to be on this podcast because I listen to myself. I go back and I think about how I presented something and how I could have did it better and how I could have listened more closely to someone, which is developing skills that I need.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there have been golden ages in the history of man beyond the 5,000 year history that they give us of you know, from starting from Sumner, this civilization. But there have been golden age. Man has rose to a point to be in the garden, in those garden kind of things where there was a spirit of love. But there's always going to be a balance, the yin and yang, the up and down, that the way everything is sort of situated. Just because we're in this experience on the earth, to give everybody a chance to use their free will and choice.
Mm-hmm.
We have choices, we have free will, and we have a power that's deposited inside of us that they kept it hidden from us, occult knowledge that hid away the true abilities that we have to change ourselves, to be not conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That requires an effort on your part, an effort to reprogram the subconscious domestication that we got from the people around us, from our parents, from the systems, from all these things. And that's the eye of finding out who I am in that personal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in various stages for different people, and it's always evolving. But it's a personal relationship, make you understand why the principles of truth are important. To speak true and to be gentle and to look for the best in people and build people up. I know this here in my experience. I feel 100 times better when I'm building somebody up.
Yes, sir.
And then when I'm trying to tear somebody down, judging, whether it's my children or anything, and they respond so much, you talk to them and they got all of the dark garbage they're trying to throw in, you just keep building them up. And you feel good, and you look over a while that even whatever they're going through, they start feeling better.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. But
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Just out here enjoying another beautiful new day of life. An amazing day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to have you, brother. We're talking about what does it take? What will we have to do to get to a place where there's absolute love and peace in this existence that we live in? What ingredients would have to be taken out of this existence for us to get there?
Man. Well, to increase the spirit of love,
Mm-hmm.
you would have to acknowledge and recognize the Jezebel spirit in you and get rid of it. And it's funny that you bringing this up.
Okay.
Because I swear, I woke up this morning, man, at 3-something, and the first thing came to my mind is mankind is under the spell of the Jezebel spirit, and people think that it only belongs to a woman, but they are lie.
Mm-hmm.
They got it completely wrong. And it's rearing its head so much now to the point where it's completely chaotic. The Jezebel spirit is so strong now that men want to completely be what they think Jezebel is.
Wow.
They be that woman. Because it did derive from a woman, but it's still that spirit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that spirit, man, that spirit to tear up and control and disrupt and manipulate and seduce. Men do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Capitalize, profit, be opportunistic, plot, plan, dictate. All of that is all from the Jezebel spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So when you acknowledge it and recognize that you have it in you, recognize it, man. I mean, I think about this all the time, man. I just told somebody last night. We ask these questions: why are these people killing themselves? Why so many people have committed suicide? You know, it's a lack of love in that, a lack of, hope in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started realizing, man, that even some of these people that we think are in a good place because they're celebrities or because they have accomplished a lot of things. That key word was they had to accomplish, and they started realizing. Because I realized it a long time ago, and I think I said it on here before. This existence, this reality that we live in, even the one that we want and that we think is good, isn't the way we supposed to be living.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't nowhere in the world you can tell me that a supreme creator created all of this life and this planet to give us all of these resources to survive, and then he tell people they got to compete for it and pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This system, ain't nowhere in the world you telling me that a supreme creator that got enough love to create something so beautiful as this life that I just sat back and said was so amazing. Another amazing, beautiful new day of existence. You telling me that he created this special gift of existence and wanted you to get to heaven, but while you here, you got to pay to play? You got to buy water that the earth, that he created something for it to be produced. That. So now I want y'all to produce a system where if you can't afford it, you can't live. Even though you need it to survive, and I created it, I'm gonna create I want y'all to be able to not afford it, so we can create conditions that create criminality, despair, and all type of things. And then I want people to say, you know what? Well, life ain't fair.
Mm-hmm.
I want y'all to have that mindset that life ain't fair and it's a dog-eat-dog world. But I want y'all to still be confused on why criminals justify doing what they're doing. Well, they doing what they're doing because they're telling the victims that life ain't fair. And they don't know what fair is in this world.
Rico, do you think if
go ahead.
Do you, and I'm being funny while being serious at the same time with this, do you think that if man could, he would charge people for gravity?
If it became listen, if we got to get off of this planet, you got to pay to get to the edge of space.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you got to pay $1 million just to get up there and float around for a second and come back down, to the point where you don't have to wear a spacesuit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ain't tied into the right situation where you being an astronaut or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, if that became an issue, it definitely would.
Wow. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. We're talking about finding the place of love, and I know what you said earlier. Let's expound on that a little bit.
Well, I found that place.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I live. You know, and if you notice, I don't try to force people into one way or another. I don't throw all people in a basket and say all people this and all people that and versus this and versus that, because that's never been my concern.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised to obey the word of God, not man.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever all this other stuff, man did that, not God.
Mm-hmm.
Man has put himself where he is. We do what we want to do, and then we act like God don't done something to us. No, you did it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see, if you sat down and thought about it, you would come to the realization that I brought these issues into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be my responsibility to resolve them.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever wrong you've done, the most you can do in this flesh is atone for those things that you have done. Recognize them and
Mm-hmm.
turn from your wicked ways. You don't have to, though. You don't have to. That's the thing about being human. You don't even have
Mm-hmm.
to. You can
Yeah.
really do what you want to do. Now, if you're scared to do what you want to do, that ain't everybody else's problem. You just have to choose what you're going to do. What do you want to do? Don't blame it on everybody else. What you doing?
Leonard, if we practice these right here, and I'm gonna read them off to you, and immediately it's gonna come to you: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If we practice those principles, each person practice those principles, would it be a better existence? Would we be closer to that
Yes, we would
that
even
place we're
listen.
talking about?
What we at least would be able to do is to surround ourselves with people who practice that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. You can't hope everybody else be better and you don't be better.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I mean, what type of thinking is that? That everybody else supposed to conform to what you want?
Mm-hmm. In order to be a friend, you gotta first show yourself friendly to be friendly.
Exactly. It's you that have to take the first step. It's me
Mm-hmm.
that has to walk away,
Mm-hmm.
not hope that the other person walk away. And so a lot of people get into trying to control other people, put labels on people, and do all these things. And then when the story don't exactly line up, now all of a sudden everybody wrong, and we all going to hell, and blah blah blah. Somebody got to go. I just don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
If you got a problem, keep having problems in relationship, look in the mirror. Would you want to be in a relationship with you?
Mm. Mm. Let me go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I've been saying that ever since I've been on this podcast. In a simple phrase, be responsible for yourselves. Be responsible for yourself or ourselves and to others. That simple phrase encompasses the golden rule and all the things that you just said,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the things Leonard just said. That's the reason me and Leonard said what he said about me. Is I live that rule to the best of my human ability.
Mm.
Every time I make a mistake, I own up to it, and I work hard to never make it again.
Okay.
And like, I'll be transparent. I have probably one of the darkest minds you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
I have extreme self-worth problems, but you can't tell by the way I talk, can you? I always do my best to be positive and uplifting and all that stuff. So there's a reason I'm in therapy. I have a lot of my personal demons that I need to work on. But that doesn't mean I can take it out on you or anyone else. To
Mm-hmm.
do that is wrong. They are mine. What right do I have to let all of that stuff hurt the people that are around me? What right do I have?
Mm. That's good. That's good.
So to me, this is where I start getting very passionate because it's our responsibility to work on ourselves, to make sure our kids are brought up with those morals, are brought up with understanding what the golden rule is and everything that comes with it. Is it going to make you the richest person on the planet? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
And not as far as money goes. But guess what the source of all things does, which we can all vouch for? Provide us with what we need.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
And maybe a want here and there.
Absolutely. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. That's the calling number. Give us a call. We love to have your input. We're asking how can we get to a place of absolute love and peace here on this existence? What have to be taken out of this thing called life? What ingredients have to be taken out for us to obtain that? Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Greed and selfishness, the evil spirit, that negative evil spirit, you know what I'm saying, that have you on doing things and being inconsiderate of how other people feel. The thing that evil spirit that makes you go against that golden rule of do unto others as you would have them to do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying, when you make these decisions because it benefits you. If you put the shoe on the other foot, you probably would have been like, well, wait a minute, man, let's slow down. But see, once again, life is not fair.
Yeah.
How many times we don't heard that as a justification of just shut up, stop complaining, and pull up your bootstraps and get to work?
Yeah.
How many times black people don't heard that? Ooh, man, life just ain't fair. Get over it. That was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you know, we live in these conditions that life created that wasn't fair. And then certain things or chaotic behaviors come out of those conditions, out of the fact and the need for survival. And those people that do that dysfunctional thing, it becomes their norm because life ain't fair. And this is what we got to do to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So some people that steal and go to jail ain't stealing just because they want to be criminals. Some of them stealing because they got to be criminals. Because of the conditions they create. So when you understand that evil spirit that created these conditions that we live in, what mankind has to understand, you know, the source behind some of the decisions that's been made throughout history that has us living this reality is really and truly completely out of order. I mean, if you really just sit back and think about the way life could be or should be, then you ask yourself, how did it get this way? Then you think about the selfishness of man. And I go back to that Jezebel spirit because I used to just call it an evil spirit, but they put a name on it a long time ago. It's just that some men didn't think that they could have it too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to call it Jezebel, I call it Jezebel.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
That's that spirit that will make you want to seek vengeance against somebody or that makes you want to sabotage people.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you are envious, that envy, all that comes from a Jezebel spirit, man, especially when you act on it.
Mm-hmm.
That evil spirit. So once you identify it, recognize it, and know how it moves, sometimes you have to identify it in yourself, observe and self-analyze. I was in the chat group the other day and I said, look, man, I got a long way to go. I'm a terrible person. Boy, y'all just don't know. I'm dealing with stuff in my conscience from my past to this day. People done passed on, man. Much as I love my grandmama, man, look, let me tell you something, man. I should have did a lot better. There's some things I need to apologize for, man, but I can't. She might have left this world unhappy with me. And the more that I sit back and think about it, man, I'm like, boy, Rico, you a piece of S. Even though I loved her to death, it still was some things I did selfishly caught up in my emotions that I didn't pay attention to show her how much I loved her. And it really wasn't respectful.
Wow.
So I have to think about those things, you know what I'm saying? You know, you self-analyze and observe the nature in you that has infected us and made us think that this is a normal culture and a normal way of life to desire and get caught up in these vices that mankind has designed, that we put more value on than each other. than preservation of life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because there's a lot of people out here losing in this world based off the system that man created, not the creator.
Exactly. And Rico, that's huge, man, because one thing that you and I have very much in common is our grandmothers. Though they're different people, they're different individuals, different ladies, they are the same because of the impact that they had on our lives. And so that's huge to me, man. To hear you say that, man, that's powerful. And I pray that you find that peace that you're looking for, man. I know it's there. You just got to find it, man. And we got a couple of people on the phone line, but before I go to them, let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart, sir? I'm gonna pull you full screen for a second, Mr. Hicks. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Wow. I was caused me to think about, the modern interpretation is that the love of money is the root of all evil. But I remember when I was young reading scripture, it didn't have that love part. It just said simply, money is the root of all evil, and that man couldn't serve God and mammon at the same time, which takes me into the economic system, a system that's based, that everything is built off this competition and personal greed. It's finances at the root of things, but it's that element of free will and choice. I think that everything that we see in terms of how things are run is based off of our acceptance of as being the right way. But
it's a lot.
I just think on these things. There's therefore now no condemnation to get to that point that when that you feel the weight and the suffering of all the things that you ought to have done, all the things you could have done. They are arrows shot at you by the enemy to keep you tied into that thing, recognizing that the Creator is truly how Jesus presented him, that Christ presented him as a God of love, a God of forgiveness, a creator that says, I cast, that left all the bad so far you can't even see, into a sea of forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's there. It's always there. And it's just a matter of accepting your worthiness. You are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a choice when you didn't have a conscious choice of when you came here or who you came here through. But you get basic things to honor our mother and father, to honor the elders, and honor our leaders that passed. All of them, all leaders, they were never perfect. They were human beings.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the thing about Martin Luther King and his non-violent stance was as a strategy, but in order to execute that strategy, you had to do a lot of internal work, because the body in its natural reflex action defends itself. The body is natural. The natural being is not to turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
You hit me, I'm gonna hit you. You hit me with an open hand, I'm gonna hit you with a brick.
Yeah.
It's like so when you find someone that's put as their principle to be nonviolent,
Mm-hmm.
which is me, I made that commitment when I turned my life around.
Mm-hmm.
How the Native American, I fight no more.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I can't win this battle that way.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yes, sir. That's good. That's good. I see you going to that place, brother. I see you going into that place. I'm gonna pull back a little bit. I'm gonna pull back a little bit.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Let me go to Goddess. Goddess, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
What we're talking about how can we, in this world in which we're living in today, there's so much going on. How can we get to a place where we have absolute love for another, love and compassion, understanding and peace? What would have to be taken out of this equation of this thing called life for us to get there?
I've been listening for a minute, and I love what the two people that I did get a chance to listen to were really, really good, and that's Badger and okay, I just said good morning on your walk this morning, so my brain has frozen.
Mistakes.
Not Mr. Hicks. It was
Rico.
Rico.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Anyway,
How do you forget Rico?
I wanted to say I love what you guys were basically saying, because Rico, you're right. And it's hard. It's really hard, especially being an activist. And I'm sitting up, and we sit up and we fight just for simple living rights and being able to afford basic things like water and electricity and stuff like that. And capitalism, I think if we got rid of capitalism, it might set us a little bit toward that journey, because capitalism is so freaking real out here.
Mhm.
And to the point where you'll sell your natural born own.
Wow.
And that's where how bad it is. And with the capitalism, I'm sitting up and I'm thinking, I'm like, everybody has to capitalize off of somebody to a certain extent. But I don't think to the point, and I guess that's where the barter system comes back in,
Mhm.
that nobody does anymore. So I think as long as you continue to do better as yourself and be a better person, and we continue to fight and look out for others, not just for ourselves,
Mhm.
that's key. I think that's key.
Wow.
I'm sitting up right now looking at our situation in Kansas, where we have one electric company, and we have a fee that's placed on there, which is only for, it's called, I mean, I don't know how anybody else's electricity is set up, but we have a fee that has nothing to do with electricity.
Mm.
It's called the pilot tax, and it's called the payment in lieu. And that's for large, like, non-for-profit organizations.
Mhm.
But they're charging individuals, and they're making $36 million
Wow.
off of us.
Mm.
So our elderlies are barely able to keep their houses and stay in there and pay their utilities.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
So it's devastating, but we've gotten 4 people that had died trying to turn this in, been killed. They said they killed themselves, but I'm sure that 4 people didn't just sit up and kill themselves after they didn't turn this in.
Mhm. It's so much going on, man. There's a lot going on. Let me go to Tucson. Tucson, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Yeah.
Tucson?
Yeah.
There you
can
go.
hear me? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It was a little low earlier. We could hear you, but it's a little low. It's much better now. How do we get to that place of absolute love, Tucson? Absolute love and peace. What ingredients have to be removed from this existence that we live in today to get to that place of absolute peace and love?
You gotta get rid of the counter. That's the hardest part. One person at a time. I guess what we try to do is give what you want. If you give what you want or what you desire, probably come up with it. Because everybody's looking for love, I think.
Yes.
But it's always in the wrong places. That's where we go wrong. And to fulfill it, all you got to do is live it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard. It's not difficult. You just follow the one that shows love more than anybody else has. I guess that's what I would say. So it would lead you back to the Creator. That's all you got to do. It's not hard. He set it in order like that.
Why do we make it so difficult?
That's what He wants. Because we have our own will and way. Us.
Mm-hmm.
We are, because we have this self-will, we will to do the opposite of what we need to do. Man has always been destructive to himself. I mean, you know, if God gives us a do and a don't, and we do the don't most of the time. I know we say we're good. That's a good talk. But are we any good? When we rebel, that's what we do. Whatever he tells us not to do. Even Paul said he had that struggle within himself. I find myself doing that very thing. Yeah. When I try to do good, here come the enemy. Evil is always present somewhere. Matter of fact, remember when I can't never figure that out. I'm still trying to figure it out. Even when the sons of God meet, Satan show up.
Yeah. Wow.
That joker right there, boy. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him. Because even when I try to do my best at it, here comes his amps. You know, everybody ain't children of God, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He got some children of his own, and they show up, and they make me act up if I don't watch myself.
Tucson, let me ask you this question. We got another caller. Go to the other caller as well. But somewhere I read where it says, if my children, if my people, I ain't gonna say children, if my people would, that part right there, if my people would turn from their wicked ways, but if my people, is that talking about everybody or all people?
No, that's where we get it wrong. We trying to get people that ain't God's people to change. They're never gonna change.
Yeah. And see, that's good.
Unless they comply to him. Because I'm gonna say it again. The devil got children too. Exactly. Remember the and I shut up. Remember Jesus told them scribes and Pharisees, "You like your father." They say, "We Abraham's seed." No, you're not.
No, you're not. Because if you was, you'll do your father's will.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep, exactly what he said. If you were, you would do your father's will. You doing the work of Beelzebub, the devil. That's what you're doing. Leonard, that's what you was talking about earlier. We got another caller. We're gonna go to the call in just 1 second. But Leonard, I want to come to you on this right here, man, because I think we're walking right down your alley, brother. What's on your heart?
I mean, if you had asked me the same question like you did, I would have said the same thing. Yep. You know why? It ain't because I like Donald better than you or nobody. It's because Donald's telling the truth. And that's what people do. I was raised and I was taught what the right thing to do. And I chose otherwise. It didn't have nothing to do with the world or nobody else.
Your choice.
I chose.
Your choice.
To disobey the word of God. And this is why I found myself in various situations.
Your doing.
Start from there.
Your own doing.
From your own doing with your own will and your own power. God can see you change from day to day. You will say one thing today, then change your mind tomorrow. And you go, well, why don't God do something? Because if God has to do it, it ain't gonna change and it's gonna remain. He can't just speak right now because it's gonna last forever if he says something. So you better get yourself right to deal with your day-to-day problems instead of thinking that, well, why don't God just do? Because if God do it, that earth will open up and swallow you. He'll snatch all those ships off that water and bring them to the bottom of the sea. When all you had to do is just say no.
Wow. That's point. Let me go to Joseph. Joseph, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, sir, and good morning, Morning Glow family.
Hey, good to have you, brother. Good to have you. You've been listening. I wanted to let you listen in for a minute before I came to you. What's on your heart, brother? What we talking about a place of love and peace here in this existence on earth? What are some of the ingredients, Joseph, from your standpoint, from your vantage point, that has to be removed from this thing called life?
Well, I'm a scripture guy, you know. Jesus said, "He that keeps his mind stayed on Him keeps his mind and heart in perfect peace." Now we know that's a very difficult task in this world, you know, to not get preoccupied and not be challenged. So sometimes our mind is not there, and then I guess working on oneself, because I believe temptation is generated from within. You know, I used to think it was from without when I used to see them girls with them hot pants on in the summertime, but actually it's generated from within the heart.
Daisy
So
Dukes.
I have to work on ourselves. Now, and I think there's peace in that when you bring yourself and your emotions under subjection to a higher power. You know, for me, that's the power of Christ, and it's a work now. It's you know, it's working out your salvation. But Jesus also said, "Think not that I came to bring peace." He said, "No, but a sword."
Yeah.
So you handling a sword, a sword. So that sword cuts both ways, and you handling it because you trying to walk a life of truth, and you trying to deal truthfully with people, and then make them deal truthfully with you. So I think all of the disciples went through that. You know, many of them were killed. You know, they suffered martyrdom because of that truth, that sword. So that peace, that life of peace, well, I don't know if we're going to have it, you know, we can have it within. But we got that sword, you know, we can't tolerate evil or, you know, look at evil and say nothing about it. So I think you're going to have a little challenge there. But I feel that peace, though, because, see, it don't cost me anything to love my neighbor.
Yeah, yeah.
But now for those who's taken power and who's robbed people, who mistreat people, who wants to dominate the world, well, they're gonna have some problems because they can't be loving their neighbor like they love themselves and forgiving folks and carrying on like that, because they're gonna lose some power. So I'm not in that place. I'm not losing no power. I'm walking in power.
That's good. That's good. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Man, everybody hitting it on the head, man. You know, I think this is one of the situations where when you hear people say, "Show me some love," or "What a love at," and you really ask yourself, "Where's the love?" You know, and I think about having that balance, because you know, too much of anything could be a bad thing. And you know what's really hard for people? You know what's really hard for mankind that's living in the flesh, that has dopamine running through his brain? It's hard for a man to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because they can have too much love or something, self-love. And if you got too much self-love, that could null and void the golden rule all day long. Because then you'll start only thinking about yourself and what's good for you. So, you know, it goes back to what I said earlier, being able to recognize when you have these selfish ways. Like me, I'm even though I'm kicking myself in the butt, and I'm dealing with the fact that it really dawned on me just how selfish I was. You know what I'm saying? I'm finding some peace with knowing that I recognize it, so I could be cognizant of it from this point forward and not be that way.
Yeah.
So I still got to find that balance and be thankful that I recognize this, even though it may have taken 12 years and, you know what I'm saying, or however long it's been for me to realize that, you know what I'm saying, man, that was some selfish stuff you did, man. You didn't, that didn't really show her how much you loved her. Bingo. Where is the love? Well, you might have showed yourself some love, but did you show love to everybody that was affected?
Was it selfish?
See, that's the thing about it. So now I ask this question, you know, when we think about something like justice, where's the love in justice? Where's the fairness in justice? Is there any love and fairness and justice, or is it more consequence and vengeance?
Wow, that's good.
Because it's more, I think there's a lot more consequence and vengeance in a lot of things that we do, and self-love involved in it. You know, now don't get me wrong, you do have to love yourself, but you got to have some balance. Because if you ain't got no balance, then it's going to be hard for you to show the same love and respect amongst others that you want them to show unto you. So once again, like I said earlier, I've seen plenty of times where people did something and they were like, look, man, I got to look out for myself. But they didn't think about if it was right or how much it affected other people. Is it showing that other people affected any love or any respect by you saying this is what I'm going to do? Because a lot of these politicians don't think about that. A lot of judges don't think about that. A lot of attorneys don't think about that. See, then, like I said earlier, we have these institutions and systems that's been created by man to a point where we are completely living in an existence that is unnatural. I should not, as a father, be forced to go broke to try to be in my son's life.
Exactly.
I shouldn't have to go broke and take him through a court system to rescue him from a Jezebel, a demon, a terrorist. Proven and documented. I shouldn't have to go and jump through all these loopholes and red tapes of the system. I shouldn't have to wait 6 months to get in court when my son might need to be saved today. Because if I put my hands on them, they're going to put me in jail for violating a court order. The court telling me I can't go around my sons until this day and this time for this many amount of hours. Anything else, I could be held accountable through the judicial system. A consequence and a punishment for trying to be in my son's life. Where is the love in it?
Exactly. That's
so, you know, I mean, you know, when we identify really if it's some love and respect for everybody affected, even when we voting and when we see these laws and this legislation that people are coming up with, as well as the love and the respect for everybody impacted.
That's right. That's right. God has talked to me. That's, man, see, there's a lot of layers to this thing, man. And I love what's going on and everything that's coming out. I'm loving that. God, what's on your heart, sis?
I just think that what everybody is saying is real. I mean, you know, what everybody is saying is real. Yeah. And I really sympathize with Rico because that's really sad because I think every child needs a father. Every child needs a father. And the love of a father is totally different from the love of a mother.
Absolutely.
Y'all love totally different. And I uplift all our fathers. I mean, I am a daddy's baby and a mama's baby. And a lot of people don't understand what fatherhood brings to a child, a girl child and a boy child. You know, you guys are so important in our lives. So I thank you guys for being fathers.
Absolutely.
And reaching out and as a daughter, you know.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you.
Praise God. Praise God. Good deal. Good deal. Badger?
I'm curious about your word usage of what needs to be taken out and why you chose that word usage.
Because certain elements, in order for you to find absolute love and peace, there are some elements that have to be taken out because they're not going to coexist with other things. And so I'm asking, what are those things that need to be taken out for you to find that love and find that peace? Because, like I say, certain things are not going to coexist. Darkness is not going to coexist with light. They just don't go together. There's no way. It's impossible. Because once you're in a dark room, you hit that light switch, the darkness is gone. They can't coexist.
So the reason I asked it the way I did was even in light, there's still shadows.
In a bright go ahead, brother. In a bright room, I'm talking about light now. Go ahead though. Make your point.
There's a lot of evil things going on in this world. And through the experiences that some of us have experienced of that evil and twistedness, it's gave us an experience of how not to treat another human being.
Mm-hmm. Is that light or darkness?
I would say it's the perception of the individual experiencing it.
That's a beautiful what's the word I'm looking for? Diversion, but that's not answering the
So,
question. But go ahead.
so once again, I'll be transparent. I grew up with a very abusive mother. Y'all have heard this story on here multiple times, right? But I never went in detail of how I handle it today.
Mm-hmm.
I come to find out, God bless my uncle that passed away, what my mother experienced from her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad she didn't do to me what her mom did to her.
Mm.
So it gave me a different view of that abuse that she did to me. It was evil. It wasn't right what she did and allowed to happen to me. I wouldn't wish it on nobody.
Did it give you an acceptance?
It gave not only an acceptance, but a love and a thanks for that experience.
Mm.
Because through that experience, I have been able to sit there and have a deeper empathy for another person that has gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I also feel that we're not taught is even in those negative times, there could be a reason for it. And the only one that knows that is God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times was Jesus tested? How many times other people were tested? Had horrible things happen to them. But they walked the righteous path. So, and what did they learn from it? They taught us what they learned from it. So that's why I said I feel we are out of balance. Yet as a human being, we need that yin and yang. If everything was rainbows and sunshine, I don't feel we would learn near as much if there was absolutely no evil in this world.
Mm. Okay. Toussaint, you there?
Yeah, that's why I watch what I focus on,
Mm-hmm.
because it is what it is. We already know it. Everybody ain't good, and the enemy, I call him the enemy, because he ain't my friend for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He never will be, and he never has. His intentions from the very beginning was not to be a friend. He's a foe, adversary, one of them. That's what we got, one, him. So I don't focus on what he does. He do what he do, good. I'm good with that. So how do I keep a kind of sound mind in that? I know that the devil, it's just where I am, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Let me establish that and let that be clear. He will do those things all the time. He uses the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. That's his operation. That's it. He's not going to change. Those three things that he come to do, he's going to keep doing it. The temptation that he uses, he's going to continue to do those things with that. That's his tools. I know that. I'm clear on that. But the other part of what Christ says, he says, but I come that you might have life, a life more abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus on what he come to do. Him. I ain't studying the enemy. I mean, I don't focus. I know that he's doing that, but I don't focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
He says, let this mind be in you that is also in Christ Jesus. I ain't got nothing. He didn't say nothing about anything about what the adversary does. He makes it clear and let us know what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But to focus on that, you're heading down the wrong road in the first place because your path is dim. So if you focus on the right things, if we focus on love and peace and joys, think on these things, he says, you got to find out what those things are. Whatsoever is this, that, and the other, I focus on that. So you try to have everybody at least knows that if it was anybody that we can basically pattern our lives after, was okay, however you want to see him as, and there are others that have that same mentality. It would be Jesus or Jesus or whoever you want to call him. Yeah, shoot, it don't make no difference. We get caught up in names and we'd be more confused as we can possibly be, focusing on many names and titles and positions. And just he was good. He operated pretty good. And if you try to do that, I think you'd be better off.
Exactly.
Anybody that pattern their lives after that, you'll be better off. Do like Grandma Deuce used to do, and you'll be good.
Good. I want to do something, and we're gonna revisit this before we close the broadcast. But I want to do something a little different today. Y'all know I'm always coming up with these things in my mind, man. Like Tucson say, I lay back on my recliner and put my hands behind my head, and I come up with different things. And I don't know where you get that from, but you need to stop peeping in my house, man. But this is what I want to do. A Goddess, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good deal. Goddess, we're going to do a court. We're going to have a court trial. You're going to be the defendant. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to have on the team that's going to defend you is going to be Leonard, Badger, and Wheeler. Wheeler, are you still here? Joseph?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good deal. And the prosecutor, the one that's going to naturally try to prosecute you on that team, Rico is going to be the head prosecutor. Rico, you there? Rico, you there?
I'm right there.
Okay. Rico, your team consists of you, Toussaint, and Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, you back? Mr. Hicks, you back, Mr. Hicks? Okay, Mr. Hicks might have stepped away, but we'll catch him up to speed when he come back. And so what we're going to do, what Goddess is guilty or charged with, I ain't gonna say guilty, but charged with, is she went into the grocery store and she was hard on her luck. She got kids at home. They don't have any food. And she went in the store and she tried, because of the fact that she tried everything that she could do, when nobody gave her no money, when nobody help her. So she went into the store and she tried to take food to feed her family. And Leonard, your defense, however defense you want to, I don't want to guide you on this part. Well, however you want to defend her is how you're going to defend her. You have a team. You're the head you're the head attorney, but your team is Badger and Wheeler. And Rico, you're the prosecutor. Your team is Toussaint and Mr. Hicks. So naturally, the prosecutor, you're trying to get her guilty. The defendant is trying to get her off. We everybody clear on what we're doing?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, here we go. Hear ye.
Now, hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, man. You know good well, put me on the side of the prosecutor. It's fixing to be a battle.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You know, man, I might mess around and say, go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and go with it. You know what this thing. Go ahead. I'm gonna see if you're ready for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the prosecutor.
And he said the lady did what now?
She went into the grocery store because she didn't have any means. She went into the grocery store and she stole food to feed her family.
Okay.
We're gonna start off with Goddess, and we're gonna ask her, why did you do it? And she's gonna tell the example. Goddess, I need you to build this up. You tried everything you could try. You did. When nobody helped you, your kids was hungry. However you want to paint that picture. Okay. All right, Goddess.
Okay, I'm here. I'm listening.
Now, Mr. Hicks, are you back, Mr. Hicks? See, Rico, part of your team is not here, man. They're gonna come in on the tail end and not know what's going on. Are you okay though, Rico? You the prosecutor. You should be.
Oh, we're gonna handle it.
Okay.
We're gonna handle it.
Okay, my man.
The state come up with a strong prosecution.
Good deal. Good deal. We're gonna go, back and forth like they do in court. This is going to, it's gonna be very interesting. Hold on, we got somebody else that just came in. Let's see who came in, so I can add them into the equation as well. Okay, is that Friday?
It's Friday.
Good morning, Friday. How you doing?
How you doing?
Doing good. We going to have a court. We going to have a court trial, a hearing on here right now, and I want you to listen in. And because of the fact that you came in, there's a prosecutor and the defense. I want you to make the determination whether at the end she's innocent or guilty, and give me the reason why. This is the scenario. Young lady, Goddess, she went into the store. She had kids, and she didn't have any means of getting any food for her family. Didn't have any means, so she went into the store, and her last option was to take the food. She got caught, and now the prosecutor is trying to prosecute her for doing that. The defense is trying to show why she should not be held accountable for that. And so we're gonna go with that, and you're gonna be the one at the end that's gonna make the determination whether or not she's innocent or guilty. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The jury. You're the jury.
Yeah, she's the jury. Absolutely. Goddess, we're gonna start off with you. Give us your, what do you have to say on in your defense, Goddess?
I don't know. I've never been a thief. Okay.
Don't say nothing about it. We're gonna make a deal. Don't worry about it.
Huh?
I'm advising you not to speak. We're gonna make a deal with the prosecutor. Don't worry about it.
So are you
okay?
Are you advising your client not to make an opening statement for herself?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. So,
I
ma'am,
agree with you.
ma'am, you can step down. Right now, we're going to go to the prosecutor and find out what the prosecutor has, and then we're going to go back to the defense, and we'll go back and forth until we get to the end point. Prosecutor.
Well, can he do that in court? We in court now. She done took the oath. When she talking to the police, she can
make your
refuse
point
to speak, but she can't do that in court, can she?
We in court. Make your point, brother. Make your point. We in court. Handle it like we in court.
Well, your Honor, she can't refuse to speak. She's under oath, and we need to get her side of the story based on the fact that she was arrested for shoplifting on camera.
Isn't ready.
We need to know she pleads guilty or innocent, and ask her, was she stealing? And what let me see, was she the woman on this camera? Which she clearly is the woman on this camera. And we need to find out what she did. I mean, if she's guilty or innocent, what she pleads.
Defense.
I'll plead the fifth.
Okay. Let me talk to
Well,
you.
you're about to go to jail. We got you on camera. You ain't just hear what I said?
The defense is not here to really discuss that particular evidence, but we would like to approach the bench to offer a deal.
Already?
Already.
On what lines?
Well, if we could approach the bench, we could discuss that.
Okay. Come on up.
Well, we're not saying that what happened did not happen. However, we believe due to the nature of the issue that my client has agreed to take the plea of guilty, and we give her community service for 90 hours.
Well, that has to be determined by the court, how many hours, or if that is acceptable, how many hours of community service she get. Let's go to the prosecutor. Prosecutor, you're here. Y'all, we're the only three that's here. So what is on your heart concerning what he just said?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Community service did not fit the guidelines of this crime and what she stole. She stole over $200 worth of groceries.
Mm.
The law has been stated and the limit has been set. She is actually could be charged with a felony. So it behooves her to give us some type of explanation on why she did what she did. So we may even be able to consider some leniency, because based on the law and based on the evidence that we have, she was caught red-handed. She's guilty, and she's going to get this time if he doesn't want to let her speak and at least plead for some type of leniency to explain why this went down.
Why is it that you do not want your client to speak, sir?
We don't think it would be in the best interest of our client to speak at this time. However, we can go to a jury trial, which would be completely unnecessary and will waste the time of this court related to this situation.
Prosecutor?
My client has no priors. Hard-working woman doing the best that she can. We're not admitting that she isn't guilty. Well, we are asking for leniency in this situation due to her situation.
So am I hearing you say that everybody that come across our board, we should take this same approach and not find them guilty because of the reasons in which you stated?
It would do well for the court to take into consideration that this may or may not be the only person in this situation. And also because we have resources provided for such situations, I believe we should use those resources provided unless they're only being provided to certain types of people.
Would you agree or would you deny that your client did break the law?
It's not for me to agree or deny, it's for the prosecutor to prove. However, we do believe that there is a question that should be heard, but it should be heard in front of a jury if necessary. But we do think that the judge within his discretion is more than able to move us directly to, well, I guess it would be a summary judgment in the matter.
Okay. Prosecutor,
John,
do you have evidence?
Without doing all this back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
I agree that this could be solved in a better way, but I suggest his client come and give us her reason from her mouth on why we should grant her leniency. Because right about now, her defense attorney is about to get her some felony time if we don't understand why she deserves leniency. We have people come through this courtroom every day that want leniency and say they won't do it again, and they repeat it. We have repeat offenders, 3-time offenders, 3 strikes. Now, maybe she doesn't have a record. Maybe she has an issue. I don't know this. But all we know is the evidence that we have on camera. And she's guilty. She was caught red-handed. Now, if she needs some leniency, she needs to throw herself on the mercy of the court and maybe speak for herself, because what I'm getting right now from the defense attorney, I'm not getting enough reason to want to give her any leniency. And this mother probably doesn't want to have to do this felony time or worry about these expenses that comes with the fines with this felony. So I plead with the defense attorney to let his client speak and express to us why she deserves leniency, because she would be able to express it better than him.
Prosecutor, let me ask you this question. She does have children at home. And if she is found guilty, she will be gone away for a while, away from those very children that she was trying to feed. Now, my heart goes out to her, to the situation that she's in with the children being involved. But would you agree with me? It may be to her best interest. It may be to her best interest to speak her viewpoint and what she was up against, so it can soften the heart of the prosecutor and we can move forward in helping her to maybe even get community service, or maybe just dismiss it altogether. Do you think it may be to her best interest? You
just repeated what I said. That is exactly what we're saying. Maybe she needs to speak from her point of view on her own behalf, so the prosecutor or the court can really get an understanding of why this happened, because she does have children. I'm not one of those type of prosecutors, but the law is the law. And I'm giving her an opportunity to express why we should give her leniency, but not prosecute to the fullest extent.
And my position as a judge here is simply to uphold the law. And with that being said, sir, I'm recommending you to have your client to come back to the bench and to give us a viewpoint as to what we're looking at and what we're absolutely up against. Are we okay with that?
I have to confer with counsel, but I do believe we should also make note, and that the recorder makes note, that the prosecutor admitted that the best way was the other way that we had presented to the court in the beginning.
Absolutely. That can be granted. I'm giving you a minute to go talk to your team. And while we're doing that, prosecutor, is there anything else on your heart? Is there anything else that you need moving forward?
I need nothing else. We have our evidence. We have the videos, and she pled guilty. If she has no reason to come forward and plead on behalf of her lineage, then you can proceed with sentencing, Your Honor. If
Now,
she hasn't thought about her own children, the defense attorney hasn't thought about the fact that her children is involved and he knows the consequences behind this, I have no choice. My hands are tied. I can't just go against the law once she pled guilty.
Okay. Now, would you be open to, once she paints the picture as to what she was up against, are you prosecutor? Are you in opposition to releasing all these charges against her if the point her point is valid?
There's nothing I can say right now. All I can do is go by what her plea is. If she pleads guilty by I mean, what is it? Now I gotta take myself out of this situation. No, what is it when you don't call yourself guilty or not guilty? It's another plea you could take.
I know exactly what he's talking.
Is it Nolo?
What is it, Leonard?
Sir, I'm not in any position to advise the prosecutor.
No contest. No contest.
Yeah.
No contest.
He said, "I'm not."
Yeah, no contest. She could plead no contest, guilty or not guilty.
Okay.
And we base our sentencing. We base the sentencing that we request from that.
Okay. Well,
we have to see some type of sympathy or remorse.
Okay. So what we're about to do right now, go back and talk to your team, defense, and prosecutor. You can go back to your corner as well, to your table, and we'll go from there. But Leonard, know that when you go talk to them, you got to have a conversation with them so we can actually hear it. So pretend like the cameras are still on you. Talk to your team, Leonard.
And hey, let Goddess be in it too, because she's the one about to go to jail. She might be the one over there talking about some man that H now.
Oh yeah, she at the table as well. She at the table. Leonard.
Miss Goddess, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna listen to my attorneys. If you want me to talk, I talk. If you want me, because first of all, it's not a felony. Anything that's below $200 is not a felony. That's number one.
Exactly.
So let's just get that out in the open. Number two is he said he called me on camera, but we never even reviewed the camera, so I don't think he caught me on camera. I just think he might have thought he seen something on camera. And the fact that my kids, they were hungry. I've tried every opportunity. I'm not saying that I'm guilty, but I have had problems in the past trying to feed my kids.
Okay, we're gonna do the. How about we do the best we can? Is there a resource for your children just in case? Do you have any family members?
As of right now, we have no resources because we don't have any food banks giving away food right now, unless I drive so far away to get food.
Assistant Counsel Badger.
For food. We're in the desert. Our whole area is a food desert.
Assistant Counsel Badger, what comment do you have?
Ms. Goddess, didn't you say previously that you did apply for help and things like that?
Yeah,
apply for assistance in many ways, as well as go to a food bank and you were denied?
Yeah, yes.
So if that's the case, Leonard, isn't there a law? Don't quote. I'm not as fluent as you. Assistant in training.
Well, I think that one, because the question on the table is not really if you did it or not. The power that the prosecutor has is what a question. But I do think that this particular judge has been very merciful in many other issues of this matter, and I think that we can make an appeal strong enough to him that he may agree to you serving your sentence with community service in some food bank, helping to feed others as well. So that is what we would like to get from the judge.
So would I be incorrect in saying that there is also, I don't know if it's an expectation or if it's a law, that says that we are to help those that are in need, and she was refused when she was in need.
This prosecutor does not have a very good past. And so I doubt that the prosecutor would agree to anything other than her serving some type of penance or sentence related to the issue. It's not a felony. We have not been served with any evidence. And what we do know is that we are not in the business of incarcerating mothers trying to feed their children. Yes, she may have broken the law, but I think if we appeal to the mercy of the court, we could come out of here with at least 90 hours of community service.
Defense, are you ready? Defense, are you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, would you two gentlemen approach the bench again?
Sure.
Okay. Where are we heading? What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are appealing to you for 90 days of community service. My client has no priors. And also there has been several issues before this court before related to this issue. And this court has never issued anything above 120 hours of community service for such an issue. The prosecutor has already admitted that the best way would be the way that we present it in our plea. And so we would hope that the court would see that, one, it would be a waste of our resources here in this county to spend this time locking up mothers trying to feed their children. The council will provide several resources to our client to help them to try to get those services that are available, which she had applied for previously, but somehow got lost in the paperwork of bureaucracy and was denied. And this is why we're making this plea to you, because of course this is not a very violent crime at all. We think that the prosecutor is being very overzealous for some reason, and there may be some question of a need for special counsel in this situation due to some bias and prejudice put forth by the prosecutor.
Prosecutor?
Your Honor, we have on tape. Now, I'm gonna have to break away from a second, man, because we have to stick to that little $200, so they just stick to the felony.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Since we make believe, you know what I'm saying? I was just throwing a number out there, but let's say she stole a felony worth of groceries,
Mm-hmm.
Clothes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, Your Honor, the evidence has been shown. If you want me to, I can present the evidence in open court. Being that she's pled guilty, we can show this in open court, or you can see this video of her stealing these clothes and these groceries or whatever, and then you make your decision. As far as I'm concerned, we rest our case. She is pled guilty. It's up to you to do the sentencing. Do you want to see the video of this mother with children breaking the law?
Prosecutor, I would like for you to. I think they said they would love to see the video. I would like for you, prosecutor, to go and have a 2-minute meeting with your team and find out the best way for you all to move forward with this. I yield 2 minutes to you to go and do so, and go talk to your team, and we go.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, I hate to interrupt you, but if she's already pled guilty and we have the video, there's nothing else for us to do. She said that she's guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount that she stole, there is a consequence behind it. I mean, we have to follow the law, Your Honor. I'm sorry that she had children, but she had those children when she went in there and stole.
Your Honor, we haven't seen any video, nor has my client pleaded guilty.
Well, I think what it is, and I have to be very unbiased on this and look at both sides, but I think that she did plead guilty, but guilty with an explanation, and so that's a different something I have to take into account as well. But go ahead.
Also, Your Honor, we would also like to question the fact on why the prosecutor is insisting this is a felony, when it is clearly not a felony, Your Honor. And we also believe that he has pushed this case inappropriately according to the laws of this jurisdiction.
Well, my thing on that is whether it's a felony or it's a misdemeanor, but at the end of the day, she still broke the law, and so
that's very important to my client, Your Honor.
Absolutely. But what my position is finding out whether she's actually guilty of this, and if he has certain evidence, if he have the video, if he have certain things like a video showing her doing that, and if she has actually openly admitted that she did do this, defense, I think it's very difficult to fight against what evidence he have and her verdict for herself. What my stance is what will be the penalty? What will be the penalty for this particular crime, considering everything and taking everything into account and weighing it out and being and letting the hand of justice come down on this particular case. Would you both gentlemen agree with that?
Your Honor, we will agree with anything that the Your Honor sees fit in this particular case. However, we do have to remind the court that the prosecutor has really been inappropriate, we believe, in the prosecution of this case.
Okay.
And simply by classifying this particular crime, which according to the law is a misdemeanor, would actually be grounds for dismissal.
Wow. Prosecutor? He's saying that.
Your Honor, the charges were for a felony. He advised her to plead guilty. Do your job. She pled guilty.
I would beg the court to revisit the law, not out of disrespect for your Honor's opinion, but simply for the technical dismissance of that law. This is not a felony which this prosecutor has brought before us.
So why she feel what is pleading guilty to? The charge said it was a felony. This is what
Your
we're
Honor, Your Honor, we never pleaded guilty. We proposed the deal.
You advised her to plead guilty. Your Honor, he advised her to plead guilty to a charge he said it isn't right. Now I advised her.
I simply proposed that we could plead guilty, Your Honor. However, because of such prosecutorial misconduct, the Honor knows very well that this case should be dismissed.
Let me go to a couple of you, because I see how both of you stand on this, and both of you have very strong grounds that you're standing on. Let me go to Prosecutor Toussaint. Toussaint, are you there, sir?
I'm still right here.
I'm trying to pull one of your team members in. Donald Toussaint, is he available?
Yeah. I'm trying to put Donald Toussaint. Come on in. Yes, sir.
Mr. Toussaint, what is your stance on this?
Your Honor, are we being biased in our decisions? Because it's clear that a crime was committed. We can all agree.
Yes.
Now, if we, Your Honor, every time somebody comes and says that they have an excuse for doing a crime, we'll have a world full of innocent, quote, people, which are actually guilty. She stole it. She took it. It wasn't hers. There are, Your Honor, help in society, in this community, that she can seek after. But sometimes you just have to work the system. Be patient. Does she have family that can support her? Does she have friends that will be willing to help her? But now, since she's committed the crime, she wants us to make decisions that she should have done in the first place. The penalty for this crime is clear, and I think, Your Honor, that we should honor the law.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
Let me call up Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole, are you available? That's you, Badger.
Oh.
Come to the bench.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is your stance on this, sir?
What state are we in, by the way?
Doesn't matter.
Just hypothetical.
Doesn't matter. You're in the United States.
Well, I mean, to be
Badger.
honest, Your Honor, we are looking to do, as Mr. Leonard was saying previously before. However, if we really need to continue to push this issue due to their misconduct, we may end up having to go into a very old certificate of need state laws.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a situation of an unfortunate, which is if this is an issue that has continued to happen here, should we really hold the mother responsible for the issues that of having to deal with such a stressful situation that it drove her to do or not do something that the defendant is trying to say that she is, because we have yet to see the evidence that she has. So
So
we're not going to say she's guilty or not guilty, as Leonard previously stated, Mr. Jones. However, this situation, the fact that it's been presented in this court multiple times, should also be shown that this is a very serious matter for multiple families in our county.
mm-hmm. So are we trying to am I hearing you say in a roundabout way that she is, because of the fact that she has circumstances and situations in her life, she's above the law and the law should not apply?
I'm not saying that at all.
Never, Your Honor, would we
Never.
even begin to even imply that.
Mm-hmm.
However, what we have before us right now is several issues related to prosecutorial misconduct, as well as we all agree that there is a better way to do this. Now, for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, if the prosecutor has this issue that may or may not be personal against my client, I think needs to be looked at a lot closer. We have had several cases of petty theft that have come through this court. This is a non-violent first offender type issue where we are working on a support system and getting her the services that she needed. But because of her situation, she was not able to get that before, which led her down this path. Now, I don't think we set a good precedent here in this court by, first of all, going against the laws that have already been established as it relates to the simple classification of this crime, which, provided by the law, could be dismissed at the mercy of this court. We're not trying to argue whether she was right or wrong, but we're asking for mercy for her from this court for such a misdemeanor as trying to feed her children. By incarcerating this woman would lead her and her children to a even worse path. But if it is in your authority to do so, we will even overlook the misconduct by the prosecutor
Mm-hmm.
in exchange for a deal of 90 hours of community service.
My issue, sir, is everybody that go into a place of business and take things that do not belong to them. Are we to give them the excuse, I was hungry or I have situations, when they break the law? And that's something that's a path that we cannot go down.
With respect to the court, this is not about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
This is about my client.
Qualify for a conversion program.
Mm-hmm.
And there are several programs that have been provided in our law as well to reach out and assist individuals who find themselves in this very similar situation that many find themselves in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The overzealousness by the prosecutor, for some reason or what have you, leads us down just the path of misconduct.
Mm-hmm.
And we would ask the court to make notice of that.
Let me go to the prosecutor, and then I'm going to go to the defendant herself, and then I'm going to my chambers, and I'm going to look over a few things, and we'll be back with it. So let me go to the prosecutor. Prosecutor, is Mr. Hicks? Mr. Hicks, are you available? Mr. Jackson?
Your Honor, I think from the very beginning, he pled guilty. She pled guilty. She was advised by attorney to plead guilty, and he pled on her behalf, or she pled guilty. We have
I
this
object, Your Honor. The prosecutor is completely, I'm not sure if it is purposely or just in error. My client has not pleaded guilty. The proposal of the deal is what we're discussing.
Okay. Mr. Jackson?
It's based off what she pleads. Does she plead guilty? The deal, there is no deal. As far as we know, we have her on video for stealing. She stole a certain amount of money. Not money, yeah, well, groceries or clothes or whatever. Like I said, because it's getting a little too long-winded for me. She has an offer based off what we have given her, unless she can give us a good reason. All of these things about her having children,
I
there are
object,
plenty
Your
of
Honor.
prisons with women delivering babies.
I object, Your Honor. As you can see, the prosecutor once again is seeming to have some personal issue with my client.
There's no personal issue. I'm repeating the same thing you said, Your Honor. I'm not holding the fact that she has children as something to
I object, Your Honor. If you would
give
ask
her
the
lineage,
court
because
reporter
there
to
are
read
other
back
women, and if
the
we
deal
give
that we
her
asked
this
for.
lineage, Your Honor, I'm speaking right now. We just finished talking for 10 minutes. If we give her this lineage, then every woman can go out and steal that has children, and then go back and say, well, wait a minute, you can't arrest me. I got a baby. From that point forward, people will start having children and using that as an excuse to avoid punishment for crimes. She will not be the first woman in prison that has children. I'm pretty sure half of the women in prison have children. And believe it or not, some of them are ready to have a baby, and they will have that baby in prison. If this is his only argument to defend her against this felony, Your Honor, if she has pled guilty, you need to do what you need to do. You can speak to her or find out what the plea is. But this case, in the history of my representing cases, I have never been in a proceeding that has taken this long for somebody to plead guilty or innocent to something they did or did not do. Your Honor, I suggest you go ahead and move forward so we can end this proceeding.
Let me
Your
go.
Honor, if we could, we must also like to have it on the record that we came into court today and we could have been out of here in 10 minutes based on the proposal and the deal. It is a shame to waste such county resources that I would have to even go through the notion of requesting special counsel in this situation due to the bias of the prosecutor.
Let me go to the defendant herself. Ms. Goddess, what do you want?
I'm here, but I'm walking into work. So my defense would be that the store did not want to press charges against me. The prosecutor took up the charges. So that's basically it.
Okay. Well, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody go back to your respective tables, and I'm going to go into my chambers, look over a few things, and I will be back. Give me 10 minutes, everybody. Give me 10 minutes. Now, that situation right there, that whole situation, how should that really have been played out in real life scenario? What should have happened in that situation right there? Rico,
you want to know what should have happened?
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that, because I'm finna speak. You know what you should have did? You should have threw yourself on the mercy of the court and spoke and fired your defense attorney like I did. Because had you said, this is the reason why I did this, Your Honor, I am sorry, I have never done this before, I would have said the prosecutor would like to request to dismiss the case. But your defense attorney came up so much trying to be professional, or what, I don't know where this came from, or legal or whatever, and you didn't have the opportunity to throw yourself on the mercy of the court. He decided he wanted to be legal and accurate, and so we're gonna stick to the letter of the law. I mean, that's what happens sometimes in real life in court.
Mm-hmm.
You get in there, man, and you have a defense attorney, and that defense attorney will be trying to stick to the letter of the law so much that the prosecutors will stick to the letter of the law. You know what happened when I fired my defense attorney in court, in the middle of court? He wasn't expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
She smiled and gave me a nod. Had I not done it, I'd have still been sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Leonard, what in the real life situation, we painted the picture, and we know how when I think it went very well. That's the first time doing something like that, so I think it went very well. What in a real life scenario, what should happen? What should have happened?
And actually, in a real life scenario, the judge would have given us that 90 hours of community service.
Mm-hmm.
For the very simple fact how simple this case is. Most judges and people who are serious don't trifle over small matters like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially they don't expose themselves as being biased for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
They would have never compared everything to this case. See, and I've said in many of courts.
What do you mean? What do you mean when you say they wouldn't have compared everything to this? What exactly does that mean?
Because what everyone else is doing has nothing to do with what this person is accused of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And never should.
But what about precedent? What about
never
precedent? You try to use precedent that she had children. That ain't no precedent that she had children.
Juries and
everything. Children get locked up too.
One at a time.
Go through this. Like, say, for instance, I sit in children's court, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a juvenile court, especially dealing with kids in the system. There is no zeal to punish people for just merely trying to survive in such a case like this.
Mm-hmm.
They even have issues. They even here in these counties where I'm living at, will allow, and I know you black people didn't know nothing about it. Do you know they allow some white folks to go to jail on the weekend so they don't lose their job?
Wow.
They let them go free to go to work, and they come and do their time on the weekend. Because it's not to send these people to hell.
Mm-hmm.
If you make some proposal that says, okay, yeah, I did it. I ain't no hard criminal, but I tell you what, well, go down to the soup kitchen, give me 120 hours of community service, and go to class.
Mm-hmm.
Not incarcerate a mother with children that's already in a situation where she can barely feed them. If you sit in a court, they allow these people to take these alternatives every day, even with people guilty of drug use and things of that nature. That's why you have all these alternative courts. Because through locking mothers up trying to feed their children is not in just the agenda, the motive behind the law.
Mm.
If you go and you make amends and you ask for that mercy from the judge, you can even get it wiped off your record.
Mm. Wow.
Man, you know what? It's funny that we're having this conversation because we in a reality. Now let's go to reality.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the United States, the judicial system, the prison system. How many people getting exonerated for crimes they didn't commit, and the misappropriation of court, the misconduct. Let's talk about how much of this goes on, how strict it is. Let's talk about how black people talk about sentencing guidelines and how they've been biased. Now you speaking like this is automatically a world where black people can depend on what you're saying and that these people don't go through this. You know how many women are in prison? I got aunts that been in prison. I got an aunt that had a child in prison, man.
You know how many are not in prison?
They didn't care that the people. Look, it's women getting treatment now that's doing meth and heroin. But my aunt that did crack had to have her baby in prison, and she still look. He ain't even got her last name no more.
And that's why you can't compare that.
So, and this is the United States that didn't give a damn about her children.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying right now is you still got to look at the reality of how the court system is. So now we actually was arrested this case and leaving in Raheem's hand right now. You got her screwed up. If they in Texas or Alabama and you coming up in here talking that mess, you ain't gonna get too much more money. Cause that ain't gonna fly in Alabama where people could kill you in your front yard and then lie and get away with it. You ain't there to defend yourself. And the system, the system we talked about earlier is still geared towards certain people.
How was that part of our case?
Okay, hold on for a minute. We got a few other people that came online here. We got God is back. I think Ryan.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Ryan, that you?
Hey, y'all. Yeah, it's me.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
How y'all doing, family?
Hey, doing good, doing good. What did you hear in that case? Being former law enforcement yourself, the young lady, she went into the store, had no exhausted all her avenues, man, had no way of feeding her kids. She went into the store and stole some food to feed her family, and she was in court. Prosecutor said, you know, she's not above the law. You know, she broke the law. I got videos showing her did this and
Yeah.
say that she actually did it. The defense is saying that, okay, she did it, but we want to have her just to do community service. She doesn't have any priors. She has a clean slate. Just give her, she got to go back home to them kids. She did it because you're trying to feed them kids. And if we take her to jail, it's going to put them kids in a worse situation. So there's both sides. There's an argument on both sides, but the defense want her to have give her community service. What do you think, being former law enforcement, what do you think should happen?
Well, first of all, I would want to know the dollar amount of the goods stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Because in most cases, if it's under a certain dollar amount, there ain't much they could do. It's a misdemeanor. So sending her off to prison is a huge step in the wrong direction. Secondly, if I was an arresting officer and on the scene, I'd be having a chat with the store owner again about the goods stolen and asking that store owner wants to press the charges. And if we made it all the way to court, which it seems like you have, I'm just going to be real. Most judges are going to dismiss this, get the hell out of my courtroom, excuse my language, and stop wasting my time.
Thank you, sir.
Because
so basically, hold on. Right. Let me. But are we forgetting the fact that the law, and the judges that are holding the law, are we forgetting the fact that the law was broken? Ryan?
I'm losing signal.
Yeah, we did. We lost signal.
I'm here now.
Okay.
Lost signal for a second.
Okay.
We drive and trying to stay warm up here.
Oh, okay. Exactly. Be careful out there,
don't
man.
have no power. So,
are we forgetting the fact
what did you say?
Are we
Ryan?
forgetting the fact that the law was broken?
No, absolutely not. You don't forget the fact that the law was broken, but in my experience, a petty theft, a trespassing, all of these misdemeanors that end up in front of a judge, the judge is just going to hand a ticket out and send that person on their way. We're not talking about incarceration time. And that's just my experience. I worked as a CO, so I did all the booking processes. I've been to the court. I've seen how these judges react to petty theft. I mean, unless you're talking about, hundreds of dollars of theft, or even thousands. I mean, there's certain states where, like I believe it's California, as long as it's under $150, you can't even stop them.
Let's make it more clear.
Law enforcement.
Let's make it more clear so you can be definite. So we don't beat around the bush, because that's what happened. I don't steal, so I don't know about $200 being a misdemeanor or a felony or whatever. So we were just making believe. But let's put it on a felony level.
Gotcha.
Let's put it on the extent to where, it might be $10,000 or $20,000 worth of clothing, or food or whatever.
Okay.
Just put it on the felony level.
A lot.
So
well, I did say a felony.
Obviously, that's felony theft. That's a big deal, right? And that's a hard subject. Community service for $20,000. That's almost an infinite amount of community service. So man, she's already pregnant, or she just got children.
She has children.
Yeah, I mean, the law is the law. You stealing $20,000 worth of stuff, you going to jail. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and ain't no workarounds. Like, that's a lot of money, and that's not a I'm just trying to take care of my family. You must be doing something else with the goods you took, because $20,000 of clothes. I don't even think I've spent that in my life. So, yeah, I mean, that person's obviously going to go to jail. The judge is not, I mean, he may have some leniency on as far as a sentence, maybe 6 months or whatever. You know, you could go to a work release program to where you are in jail at night and you working during the day. We had that at my facility where people would come in during the day. They would have to sleep at night in the facility, and then they would check out during the day. Someone would pick them up. They would go and do their work. Sometimes there was a little leniency so they could see their family for, you know, a few minutes, but then they'd have to be there sleeping in the facility at night.
And I looked it up. Shoplifting items worth over $500 triggers a felony. And they say if it's done, if it's the person is caught multiple times, it does not have to be $500 because they've done it multiple times. They can actually, because of the fact that there's a repetitive thing that's happening with them, they can regardless of the amount, could be equal to felony.
Right.
And it allows for so much discretion.
It's kind of like domestic abuse.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I mean, it's the thing, felony versus misdemeanor. Now, are there cases where even for a misdemeanor, a person gets thrown in jail? Yeah, but how many of those are there versus the ones that don't get put in jail? Like, you know, that's where, like, there's a lot of study and research a person would have to do to find out actually what kind of numbers those actually are. But we're talking to people that actually deal with the court system on a regular basis. Those are the ones that, you know, I don't deal with court systems, so I would have to go look up the numbers and research the numbers and talk to people that do deal with the court systems for me to have a more educated voice on this matter. This is this particular type of matter I don't have a lot of information on, so it's hard for me to say on it. However, let's say I personally was the judge in that situation. If this is a one-time thing, I would be more lenient in that situation for anybody, for any human being, be it a mother or a father. However, I would also make sure that person is provided help in one way, shape, or form. And I'd also make sure that they go volunteer and things like that. But if I see that same person more, you know, whatever the law dictates, knowing the way that I am, I would put them in jail. After a certain point, no more. No more excuses, no more not.
Okay.
It was one thing to do it once. But you've done it more than once. And I know for a fact that there was people willing to help you, and I see that you were provided help, and yet you have still continued to do this behavior. Now, like, here it is. So, but once again, that's me. I don't know a lot about the laws on this, so all I can do is speak an opinion.
Good deal. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. I got to do this right here because if I don't say good morning to my mama, boy, after the broadcast, I'm gonna get a phone call and she's gonna get all on me. So, mama, good morning. Love you, baby. Love you dearly. So I had it. Mama, love you, baby. I said it. I said my shout out. All right. Look here, I ain't gotta hear it now. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? She over there laughing now.
Oh, I had to step away, so I'm sort of lost.
Guilty or not?
We hadn't determined yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna listen a little longer. I stepped away, so I missed a big part of things. I don't know.
Man, you missed the whole court trial, man. We had a whole court trial here, man. You missed the whole trial.
I sure did.
But let me go to who else we got on here. Let me see. Oh no,
I think Leonard was trying to say something.
But God, it hadn't been determined whether or not you're found guilty or not yet. I hadn't came back out of my chamber. We
And
just
I kind of want the prosecutor to be held in contempt, actually.
wow. Why you want to now you want to so if he's held in contempt, you gonna defend him?
No, I can't.
Wow. Wow.
But I warn the people of this county,
Mm-hmm.
be very careful when you go to the polls next time.
Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna vote him in? You're gonna make him lose his job?
Well, I wouldn't suggest that, but I think that the county should know what has happened here today. And what a courage, what an awful display of the intent of this court to even support a prosecutor who has behaved the way this prosecutor has behaved in this simple case.
Well, the prosecutor's job is to find the person guilty and to present.
But the prosecutor's job also, Your Honor, should be to know the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor.
Well, it depends on how much she stole. Now, if it was $500 here in Georgia, it's a felony.
Well,
it depends on how much she stole.
But we weren't even presented with evidence.
What about the video of her stealing, though? What about that
part? Any video?
Huh?
We don't know anything about a video.
Prosecutor, you got a video?
And at this point, I believe that the video itself would almost be in contempt. If we go any further, the embarrassment of this court would be that they allowed this prosecutor to proceed in such a manner.
What about the fact? What about the theft? We overlooking the fact that your client did steal something. Your client went in that store and took things that did not belong to her.
I don't think that we overlooked it at all. In our proposal, we made a deal and proposed a deal to the court on how the majority of the cases that we have handled related to petty theft and how we have proceeded. And that's why we asked for the discretion of the judge in this case.
What you try to do is come in and be the defense and the judge, jury, and the prosecutor. You wanted to be all of that. You wanted to tell the court what they was going to do in this situation, and that part did not set very well with the judge.
Well, we would be shirking our responsibility as a public defender to do such.
Mm-hmm. Is Rico, you there? Rico might have stepped away. He may be on another call. He may be on another.
Once again, Your Honor, the prosecutor even here.
Lord Jesus, this dude, what? This dude, Mr. Hicks. Ms. Hicks, you back with us? Mr. Hicks? Okay. Let me see. Badger, go ahead. You got someone, he said his mind is blown.
Because like I'm sitting here and you're putting me as defense and I'm sitting here like I'm working hard, but I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be the one that goes up there and goes, look, she's guilty and we're pleading this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a lawyer at all.
So
Leonard knew this. That's why he wouldn't let me speak much, because he knew I'd end up going, I can't do this lying crap. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do that. Like, no, she's guilty. Sorry. Like, it's just, yeah.
Hey, Goddess, you hear your defense throwing you up under the bus? Goddess, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Do you hear your defense? Your defense throwing you up under the bus, saying you're guilty? That's your defense now.
I hear my defense team, but
I told her she should have fired him.
But the situation is, okay, and I'm gonna speak for myself. The situation is that on the defense that first of all, and if you heard what the police officer said on there, he said that they did not, they should have been thrown out of court from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The grocery store people did not want to prosecute.
Mm-hmm.
The prosecutors wanted to take up. The prosecutor wanted to take the case anyway, so they picked up the case anyway. So therefore, you don't have the grocery store there to testify. So they're not there to testify. All you have is me. I'm not really saying that I'm guilty, but I'm not guilty. It's just the fact that I plead not contesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're trying to say. And then also the fact that I do have children, and this is below a $500 limit. It was $200, which should be actually in a diversion trial plan and a program. So by being in a diversion trial and program, that's exactly where we should be taking it to. The fact that you would do irrevocable harm by placing that female into incarceration, because there's the children they will be placed also as well. So not only are you incarcerating her, you're incarcerating their children.
But see,
So that right
but
there
the prosecutor stands on the prosecutor's. Don't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. But the prosecutor's stance on that was you knew you had kids when you went in there stealing.
But that was the reason why I chose to go in there and do what to go into the grocery store.
Mhm.
And what the prosecutorial misconduct is that they decided to take a case without anybody even pressing it. So they picked up a case, and then the prosecutorial misconduct is they decided to try to give me a go against the law and give me a felony when it should be just a misdemeanor.
But you know the
Ooh, man, I wish I
prosecutor.
used that when I got the domestic violence charges, man. She didn't even show up.
But see, my thing is the prosecutor does. Hey, let me tell y'all something. The prosecutor does. Hold on for a second. Rico, hold on for a second. But the prosecutor does pick up cases though. The prosecutor, you know, sometimes the police don't even want to move forward with it, but the prosecutor will pick up cases and take it forward. But go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. Y'all got to remember some of these prosecutors are trying to build a career, and some of the judges, they're going to get one too, or some of them might get paid.
Mhm.
Y'all remember that guy that got prosecuted for sending the little black boys to this camp for money?
Yep.
I mean, come on, man. Y'all talking about, I could really tell that ain't none of y'all been behind that in that courtroom, and was the one it affected.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do things like this regularly and represent
Number one,
people.
I ain't saying
Hold on,
witness. I said the one affected,
Mm-hmm.
the one facing the charges. When you got a defense attorney sitting up there gibber-gabbering and going around, and you like, wait a minute, he ain't even said what I said.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't even said what I want him to say. You know what I'm saying? He gonna make it worse on me. I don't think y'all have been in a situation like that, man. Where you would, I mean, I'm listening. I'm like, some of this stuff is being said, and these accusations, a judge wouldn't even let it go that far. Even on my end, it was just some things that went on. I'm like, nah, this wouldn't happen in no court. This wouldn't happen in no court. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, the thing is this is what I would have done based off Rico being the prosecutor. I would have gave her an opportunity to tell me what had gone on, just like she told that store manager. And then I would have dismissed it. I would have said, Your Honor, the prosecution chooses to dismiss this case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But based on where it went, how she was like, well, he lying, and then she want to come up front. The grocery store owner didn't want to press the charges, but the prosecutor decided, oh yeah, give her the book.
Mm-hmm.
Give her the book. She didn't even have enough sense to come up here and realize, you know what, man, I might need to be careful of how I come saying this thing, because this is the one threw it at me. So I need to appeal to them and let them know, y'all, look, I know what I did was wrong, but man, the way this system set up, I couldn't help but to do it. Y'all got to just, man, give me some leniency, man. Give me some mercy, please. I'll never do it again. I ain't never been caught. They ain't never suspected me. The grocery store, I mean, I would, man, listen, if my attorney didn't say the thing that things need to be said, I would have did what Rico did.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, I'm fine him. I don't need him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But see, I listen to every word, and you said ain't never been caught. You say you ain't never done it before. You say ain't never been caught at this before, and so that was very.
I said that on purpose.
I know,
I
but
said that on purpose.
Exactly. But see, I'm just letting you know. I listen to every word. See, I listen to every word that somebody said. Y'all don't know. I pay attention to every word. He said, I ain't never been caught at this. I ain't said I never did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Raheem. And I like that.
Sometimes that's what a prosecutor has to think of.
Mm-hmm.
If you were comfortable doing it this time, what's to say that this is just the only reason you were in here because you got caught this time?
Mm-hmm.
Because this store has a big problem with stuff coming up missing. And from the way it sounds like, they think it might have been you, miss, because you had a whole lot of stuff you walked up out of here with like you was real comfortable for your first time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we done heard these stories before. I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem.
Yeah, go ahead, Leonard.
I have hundreds of cases
Mm-hmm.
documented where people have come to me for assistance. As an activist, even, this is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we sit as court observers. Because think about it. Most people who have been to court, no, prosecutor would throw this out. We're gonna do some community service. You got some diversion treatment program. Boom, done deal. But see, when we find them prosecutors that are overzealous, that's how we look at things. Okay, so what else is at play here?
Mm-hmm.
I had one woman come to me for help. She don't sold to her undercover. The judge know her by first name.
Good
Has
Lord.
warned her on other occasions that he does not want to see her in this court again. But the family would come to me and ask me to help assist with representation to try to get her off. For what? You told me she don't sold to the undercover.
Mm-hmm.
And this ain't her first offense, nor her second offense. So what do you expect me to do? I'm appealing to the heart of the matter and trying to ask the judge to use his authority, which he do have,
Mm-hmm.
to give this person a second chance. Not to look at this the way all these other cases and all these previous biases and prejudices, and not bring that into this particular situation. Even with trying to preserve families before you take the children, we try to get them into programs and things like that. And then you may have domestic violence or what have you, and you try to work with that family so you don't have to take the children. Because one, it's not about just throwing everybody in jail. Now, if you're only looking through the lens of race, I understand. But there are a lot of people that go to court and get second chances. I know folks who have done terrible things and have been given second chances simply because they were underage.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine this: you have a right, even for something as simple as to go to a jury trial. Do you think the court is interested in this jury trial of petty theft? No, because you're not going to be able to convince a jury looking at a woman trying to feed her children that she's some hardened criminal. When she didn't steal no money. She didn't steal stuff to sell.
But she
She
still
stole
stole.
food to feed.
But she still stole merchandise, and that within itself is a crime.
Exactly, which is why we're in front of a court to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
You've been listening. You've been listening to us this morning.
I haven't gotten the gist of what's going on.
Well, we had a court trial today. And Goddess was the defendant. She had kids. She went into the store and she stole food to feed. She's exhausted all avenues. She didn't have any way of getting any food to feed her kids. Nobody help her. And so her last resort was to go into the store and steal some food. She got caught. And when she got caught, she went to court. The prosecutor is saying that, she did break the law, that she needed, be held. I'm putting it in a nutshell, had to be held to the count of the law. The defense is saying that, she don't have any priors. No priors at all. It's her first time doing something like that or getting caught for doing something like that. And he want her to have community time. She have kids at home. She said the reason why she did it was to feed her children. What do you think should happen in a situation like that?
Absolutely, she should receive, especially if it's her first time, being caught, as you said. She needs to be able to get community service. Why would you put the family in more jeopardy? And you know the facts that she does have the children. She has, proven that she's tried to get help or put in for help and hasn't been able to attain it. So why would you prosecute her children as well as her and not just give her community service? The humane thing to do, the mercy of the court should be to give her community service. First time offender, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give her time for stealing food for her family? I understand the law. Plus, how much did she steal? Did she steal $500 worth of food? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That determines, because over a certain amount is considered a felony. So if it's a misdemeanor, why put the family through that? Think about it. if you were to put her in jail for trying to feed her family, what would happen to her children? Now you got something else that would be going to the state to have to take care of her children if she doesn't have family. It doesn't make sense. So,
Okay. But
I mean,
let me throw this at
anybody
you,
should
Cassandra.
recommend, any decent judge would recommend communities give her community service.
Okay, now I like to I like to do both sides of the coin. I want to hear your take on this. I'm gonna go to Ryan after this. But I'm dealing with both sides of the coin. Yes, all the stuff you said is true and should be taken into account. But did she take into account the fact that she was breaking the law when she went in there and stole that stuff, knowing she had kids at home? Cassandra?
When it comes, let me say this, when it comes to feeding my children, and I really get desperate, I'll be selling my body, I'll be stealing out the store. To feed my children, I would do all of that. I'm just being straight up honest, and we can be holier than thou and say, I never do that, and I ain't never gonna say. Let me tell you something. If it comes to feeding my children, everything is on the table other than killing somebody. That's the only thing I would not do. I would not kill, but sell my body, yes.
Wow.
And you know what the reality is? The reality is most women in jail for that reason. Which is the ones that's in there. You said they put in there for dope. So some of them in there for that exact reason. They got caught doing it.
Yep.
I mean, that's the reality. Let's talk about all this diversion program. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the prison system and how many it does need to be some diversion program. If we talking wishful thinking, this scenario we did, it was wishful thinking. But the fact of the matter is, what really exists is you got a lot of people locked up that shouldn't be locked up. And they living in conditions that force them to do those things. And a lot of people stand in front of that courtroom and say, well, this is the reason why I did it. And that overzealous prosecutor and that judge in that racket said, we don't care. I mean, that's what the truth is.
Yeah.
You know, I just said that man got arrested for selling those children, a judge. Now, that's what the reality is. If we're going to ignore that, then let's just stick to the scenario that we gave. But the reality is, God is going to be in trouble. If she stole enough for a felony.
Good. Let me go to Ryan. Ryan, what's on your heart, brother?
I don't know. I haven't been here the whole time, so it's kind of hard coming into it and catching all the what ifs, right? So if we sticking to just facts, I'm with
Ryan,
Leonard. Like,
Ryan, let me ask you this. Now, but Ryan, let me throw this at you real quick. And I understand what some people are saying, that she got the kids at home. We have to take we have to take in account that she has kids at home. We have to consider that as well.
I would not be filling that up with gasoline inside.
Okay, you got something going on. but my thing is but my thing is this right here. We're supposed to take into account that there's kids at home, and we should consider that. But shouldn't she also consider the fact that she have kids at home when she's going into that store to steal things? Should that be responsibility of hers as well as ours?
Well, when you put it that way, yes. But at the same time, like Cassandra was saying, it's whatever for my kids.
Right.
But in the moment, it's almost like a what do they say, an act of passion, right? When somebody kills their spouse over some crazy stuff because they in their right state of mind, it's the same thing. Like, you don't really think about the actions when you're trying to take care of your family. Sandra said she'll do whatever it takes to make sure her kids feed except for kill. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you coming out with a bag of money, and it is what it is. That's just me, and that's coming from my background, But I'm gonna do whatever it takes to take care of my wife and kids. And it's a crazy scenario. So when you put it in the context of she should have known better, she knows she's stealing is wrong, and they're gonna take her from the kids anyway when they catch her. Yeah, that's true. But she probably wasn't thinking about that at the time. She was just trying to put food in them babies' bellies. So, but like we said, you said first offense, no priors, clean record. This is going to go in front of a judge, and she's, the big thing is even if the prosecutor picks it up, I'm pretty sure that the store owner is going to be there and say, Your Honor, I want to drop these charges. I never wanted to press charges. And he's going to have to take that into consideration. You know, this woman was just trying to get food for her children because she didn't have any other avenues. Which brings up another point of contention. If you're that poor and you have children, plural, I guess you need to be down there at the Department of Human Services getting some food stamps or some WIC or something. Because those avenues are open, and unless you're caught stealing food stamps or you're caught selling it or what have you, they're not going to deny you food assistance in this time and age if you have no job and you're a parent of multiple children. So there is avenues.
And emergency assistance too. There's
Yeah.
also emergency assistance. Well, they'll drop that into your account like immediately.
Not only that, but there's churches and everything else out there that take up food collections and everything else to pass out to the needy. So there are other options out there. So that kind of maybe changes my mind a little bit on she was just trying to take food for her kids, because there are other avenues. But you know, in the heat of the moment, again, it's a crime of passion. Like you're trying to take care of your family. So I don't really know.
And also, can I add, Raheem, that also when you're looking at these things from a broader picture, especially on humanity, you've heard my man Ryan. Ryan was a police officer. He knows how it goes. He's from the city of out there in Detroit or what have you, and things of that nature. If you go into court and it's truly an issue of survival, the court recognizes that. But see, I've been around jokers that say, I had to sell dope to survive. No, you did not. Because the first thing you did was go fix that car up, buy them rims. You got these chains and these all these clothes. You wasn't trying to survive. You just rather sell dope. I could have sold dope. I was in the same situation. I could have been robbing people, doing all sorts of stuff. But I took my butt down to the Department of Labor and got me a job. So at least I could eat.
True.
So this excuse that people have been using about survival has been exploited. You're not gonna tell me you talk doing it for survival. And you living in your grandmama house off her Social Security check, and you riding around with $4,000 worth of tires on the car. You're not gonna make a fool out of me like that. But like Ryan said, when these people, when really poor people get in trouble like that, and you look at the resources that are available, okay, man, why you don't have it used to be what ADC or TANF or anything like, you don't know anything about that? Well, we're gonna get somebody to help you with that. Because it's one thing to really have some people have no excuse except for they just want to do it. But there are other people who can go before that court and you see it in their face. They felt they had no other resort. They got, and let's clear it up. Most women are not in prison because of prostitution. You know, we have to stop generalizing so much, and we have to actually look at people's situation, and that's how we help them. Not by just lumping everybody together and lock them up and throw away the key. That's what we fighting against every day. But at some point, we never said, even in the case, it wasn't that we were saying she did or did not do it. We were asking for mercy because of why she did it. And we presented the story of why she did it to the court for the mercy. And the court would see, man, I'm not wasting all these resources when we can get this woman food stamps and everything else and sit here and they go plead not guilty. And then you want to go to a jury trial. Then you want to bring out on a misdemeanor. No.
Good deal. Stay right there, Leonard. Let me go down. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? Should she be prosecuted? Should she be able to walk? Community time. What should happen to her? Now, Toussaint, you was on the prosecutor team, but you don't have to be on the prosecutor team right now. You don't have to be on the prosecutor. You just tell what you think. What's on your heart?
I'm tell in, but you know, like Leonard said, everything's not cookie cutter, and some people, the reason why they get away with stuff is because we generalize everybody. That's your problem. But people use that for excuse. Oh, I'm trying to feed my family. Well, your hair so nice. I like them nails you got on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a problem. You taken care of, but your children struggling and you stealing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. You mean to tell me you got $400 hairdo, and your toes are done, your nails are done.
You're smelling
and
good. You're
you're still
smelling
trying
good.
to feed your family?
You're smelling
That's child
good.
abuse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's neglect. That's what that is.
So she should go to
So
jail.
we got people that should put her to jail. Bye. I'll see you when you get out. I'll visit you once a month. Because what I'm saying is, if you still in the field to feed your family, and we understand that there are women that are struggling, you shouldn't. And I'm not saying you shouldn't keep yourself up, because some people are really homeless, but they trying to find a job, so they dress the part to try to find a job. But you don't know it. They sleeping in their car. They taking a bath in the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got your hair down to your legs and you stealing, we got another problem here. That's a little bit more.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying.
Good day. Leonard.
Oh, hell, the good Bishop Gregory Allen. Hail to thee, great good Bishop Gregory Allen.
Bishop, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
So silly, man. I'm great, man. I'm listening to the show, man. I'm
Talk directly into that phone so we can hear you better. Talk directly into that phone. You're a little bit low, brother.
All right. I'm listening to the scenario,
Mm-hmm.
and
We still can't hear you.
everybody got some very good points. Let me do this. Everyone has some very good points. I'm listening to it, and having served in law enforcement, I ran into situations like that. I really did, and I did not arrest the individual that was stealing, but I did pay for the food and what they told me their hardship. But one of the things I said to the person that did it, I said, "Why didn't you go in and talk to the manager and tell them about your situation?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't think they would listen. I said, "Well, I listened, and I'm the one that has the right to restrict you from moving. I got the right to put you in jail, but I'm not going to do it based on your story. However, if we run into this situation again, this is going to be the downfall of your own doing. So pay attention to what you're doing as you do it, because it does not hurt. Pride causes you not to ask anyone for help. But to go out and like Cassandra said, hey, man, I got to take care of my children. Yeah, I'll sell my body. I'm not selling my body just because that's just for the heck of it. I'm doing it so that I can make money to provide for my children. But in today's society, and I think it was Joseph who said something along the line with, all these other services out there, DFACS and learning stuff about that. You got all these other resources that are out there to help you, to keep you from becoming a criminal or putting yourself in a situation to go to jail. Nowadays we got all these signs of it. We're hired. The folks don't want to work at McDonald's or work somewhere and say that's beneath me. But there's nothing beneath me when I need money to live and survive and take care of myself or my family. But the scenario was great. The responses are everyone's, which are great because they're bringing to life the reality. Sometimes leniency does pay out or play real good for others. And being a stickler of stick in the mud about, the law, you broke the law. Yeah, there are some things that you have to be patient and deal with. And even Christ, when they caught the woman in the very act of adultery, and there's their custom and ritual, amen, somebody did that, you stone her. Jesus didn't stone her. He had piety. And he said, he told him, now, y'all he who's without sin, you cast the first stone. And there was nobody able to throw a stone. They all, from the greatest to the least, dissipated. He's right now, and he lifted up himself and said, where are your accusers? She said, I have none. He said, well, go on, don't you do it no more. See how simple that is?
Yeah.
So we got to bring common. If it were me, how would I want it to play out? But there are so many different resources, man, that are out there to help people. But it does not hurt to ask the store when you're in a hardship. I need to feed my family. I'm not working. I'm out of a job. Could you allow me to do this? And I'll come in and, if you want me to come and sweep your parking lot to do the store, or would you hire me? Simple as that. So, I love it. Just enjoying it, man. I had to call in and give my 2 cents.
Hey, good deal. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I was sitting here and I was thinking because
No, that's
there
scary.
are absolutely
Go ahead, brother.
because here's the thing I've run across, doing my best to help people is, and I've mentioned this before, I have come across people that you can offer them every ounce of help, telephone numbers, even make the calls for them to help them get into these systems so they can get the best help that they can get. And they go, no.
Mm-hmm.
And they continue doing the same old thing. Think about the person that's got cirrhosis of a health issue because they were drinking. And they were put in the hospital for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're surrounded by people that want to help them, that's doing their best to help them. But that person's sitting there fighting the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why things need to be weighed. If with the scenario, now I'd probably be a little bit biased, I'll be honest. They come in driving a Lamborghini and all this other stuff, and they're sitting there, saying they ain't got money. Well, how in the world did you afford a Lamborghini?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just lose your job? Like what's up? Like what happened? That's a very expensive car to drive.
Sell it.
So, but at the same time, there's families that are in really messed up situations where they're applying for that help.
Mm-hmm.
Like how would you feel if all of a sudden your livelihood, let's say you use physical strength, right, doing construction work and stuff, and all of a sudden that was just taken from you one day? You just couldn't do it anymore, and you're sitting there reaching for help while you're trying to find a way or a means to gain things, and the state tells your wife, like, now you're in a wheelchair and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's having to be a stay-at-home caregiver. How would you feel if the state tells you, well, that's your wife, that's what she needs to do?
Wow.
And doesn't let her get access to health care?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of little bells on this thing. There's a lot of
Right.
bells.
So I'm not giving, and this isn't an excuse by no means. This is an example of the amount of stress that even our young people are growing up into. Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a lot of things out there that a person can apply for. It took me and my wife 5 years to find my wife a decent therapist. And guess what we just found out yesterday? After about 2 months, that person's moving on from that nonprofit, and there's nobody else there that's trained in the therapy that my wife needs.
Wow.
So she's going to have to go without again.
Let me go to
so there's just so many, there's so much depth to this conversation, because I'm not sitting, I have to agree and disagree with Brother Bishop and Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is help out there to a degree.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
But there are a lot of people that don't get access to it.
Okay, stay right there, Badger. Let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart? You gotta get out here. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just listening. It's been very enlightened, spiritual. I was thinking the thing that Leonard said there was just the core of where I've grown to. It's easy to treat people right that's treating you right. It's easy to be nice to people that's being nice to you. But the real test and stand on your principles, how do you respond when you're not getting back, not receiving it back, reciprocal? Mm-hmm. That becomes a personal kind of purpose in life, to be a hero, to overpower any part of yourself that make you doubt the wisdom of these scriptures, the wisdom of these things, are higher principles of life. But it's been a great talk. I've been absent a lot of it, trying to handle some other stuff on the phone with one of my grandchildren. But
okay, good deal. Absolutely appreciate you, Cassandra. Now, we say that helping people and want to help people, want to do these different things, and you come in contact with this every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day. question for you is this: does everyone want to be helped?
No, you're always going to have that small amount of people that don't want to do the work to get help. But please, because when we say that, people minimize, or minimalize the people that really need it. Can I tell y'all, I know women that are working 2 jobs right now, and they can barely feed their children. Why? Even though they're getting food stamps, because the prices of everything is up so high right now that you can't even find affordable housing in Atlanta, because the people that own the properties in Atlanta are evicting, not evicting, but telling the tenants that, hey, I'm shutting this house down. You have to move. You got 30 days, whatever, 60 days. And people are scrambling, and there is nowhere in Atlanta to find housing. Point blank, you talking $1,800 for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, that's across Atlanta, easy. And I live in the city of Atlanta, and I'm telling you, that's what it is. So what are we supposed to do when people are being displaced? Come on, tell me, you working 2 jobs, doing everything you know to do, and even within the system, there is no. Y'all can say there's help if you want to, but tell me the people that I know that I'm dealing with and that I talk to on a daily basis that can't even find housing, because they can't afford it. Period.
Wow.
Point blank.
Wow, that's true. That's true. Rico?
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Once again, a lot of the things people said, that's the way it should be. And then a lot of things that people said on here is the way that it really is. So, I was looking, man. You remember Winona Ryder, that actress, got arrested for shoplifting? Stole $5,500 worth of merchandise out of Saks Fifth Avenue.
Yep.
She did that time. She stole sweaters and socks. She ain't steal no jewelry. She didn't need it, though. She was that rich woman Badger was talking about. Well, at least we think she's rich because she was famous. But, everybody might not be as wealthy as what you think, because they have infamy. But she got infamy for that, too. And she went through the same court system that if you go and throw yourself on the mercy of the court, they'll give you some mercy. And, I'm listening to what people were saying, and I'm like, you know what? That's the way it should be. Like what Leonard was saying that earlier, that's the way it should be. But the reality is, we got a movement about this thing called judicial reform. It's a movement about that because of the fact that you have people in the judicial system that have been abusing it and taking advantage of people and not having any compassion. I asked the question earlier, does the justice system have any love, respect, and compassion in it? Is it fair, honestly? Because if it is, judicial reform is an imagination. We just been dreaming for the last 5 or 10 years. Affluenza ain't real. Oh, did I say affluenza? But then Winona Ryder go to jail? Well, she didn't get affluenza. See, this is the thing about it. Everything is not cookie cutter. But then you ask, we do still have some very obvious realities that sometimes we choose to acknowledge because we choose to argue one side of things. I try to argue both sides of it and then look at the reality, the most likelihood of how things work. And I know so many women that's been in prison that have children. I'm pretty sure, like I said, most of the women that's in prison right now are probably grown because they're in prison. And I'm willing to bet the bank that 75% of them got some children. The court didn't have no mercy for that. Then you say, well, you know what? Did she take into consideration that she had children before she did the stealing? Yes, she did. That's why she stole. She stole because she got the children. Sometimes do people not want help? Yeah, sometimes people don't want help. And then sometimes people get help, but it ain't enough. It still ain't enough. There's been people on here, man, anything I could do to help you, Rico. I said, I know what you're going through with your son. Anything I could do that, man, if you ain't willing to put a gun on your shoulder or put some money in my bank account and buy me an attorney, it ain't enough. Whatever help you give me, it ain't going to be enough. So, yes, these women,
that do this, if that would have been Goddess, the court probably would have heard it better from her mouth. But it still would have been in the heart of the prosecutor to receive it. And then beyond the prosecutor, it still would have landed in the hands of the judge. So everything lands in your lap, Raheem. What would you have liked to hear to give her of something that was more humane? What did you need to hear from the defense, from the prosecutor, or from the actual defendant? Because you are the last judge. The big J. You could dismiss it yourself.
Yep, throw it out.
But it would still be so much that you would need to hear for you to understand that maybe she ain't drive that Lamborghini out there in that parking lot.
Wow, that's good.
See, if she drove that Lamborghini in that parking lot, it would maybe if you saw a Lamborghini in the parking lot and you just automatically assume, I wonder is that her? It would behoove her to get in front of that courtroom and say, Your Honor, I am broke down and poor. Have you seen that movie Set It Off? That was me. I knew it was some trouble involved, but I had to take that risk because in the fact that I was considering that I could go to jail and I considered that I had children that I could be taken away from, I also considered that they didn't have nothing on their stomach but air. And it was food and water. I mean, we need some food. So I took a risk and I took a chance like they did on Set It Off. So, yeah, I think, we can't ignore the fact that she didn't have her children in consideration when she committed the crime, because that was the reason why she committed it. That was the ultimate consideration. She just had a choice to make. A risk.
I'm sorry, Rico. Was he finished? Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
How many people on here have ever gone to bed hungry?
That part.
How many? That part right there. How many of you know what it's like to go hungry? I mean, to actually go hungry. Well, if you've been in that position, then you understand. If you've never been in a place like you had parents or a single parent that was able to put food on the table every night, just consider if you didn't have that. See, sometimes you can't feel what a person feels unless you've been there. You have no clue what it's about unless you have felt that. You understand?
Yeah.
So until you've been hungry and don't know where your food coming, that next meal is coming from, you have no idea what some people go through on a daily basis. Right now, their children hungry because their mother or their father can't put food, don't want to, can't put food on the table. I'm just saying, I need us to think about that.
Wow.
And before we leave, some people, it ain't that some people don't want to help. Some people are ashamed. It's funny that you brought that up, Cassandra, because last night I sat back and watched somebody, and me being observant, I thought to myself, wait a minute. Joker don't look like they're in good shape, man. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if they done ate anything. So I just happened to go up and
say something when y'all get through.
Yes.
About 10:30. Man, you ate anything today? I ate a little something, man, but really and truly, I really can't stand to get something to eat. He didn't even ask me. I just recognized it out of concern. I just recognized it. Come on, let's go. Took him to McDonald's and got him something to eat, even though I wasn't going to go broke now. Don't get me wrong, but he needed something on his stomach. But I could have been unobservant and just been caught up in myself and not even asked that, and that person would have been sitting there hungry. I don't know what that felt like. I didn't know if he was hungry or not. But something told me to ask him, and he was, because I know how that feels. So it was something told me this dude ain't ate nothing.
Wow.
Something just told me that he ain't ate nothing.
Because
I know how that felt. So I mean, that's big what Cassandra said. I don't know if many people know how that feel, man, but hey.
Yep, that's true. Goddess.
Hi, yes. I wanted to talk about that. Hunger is very real. And it's masked over because people don't want to, as me being a bus driver for the city, I do a lot, and our mayor made our bus our bus is free. So we get a lot of homeless just to get on our bus and to stay warm. And so with like when I get paid, my thing is I buy pizza and I buy like a couple things of pizza just to give people something to eat. And you wouldn't believe how many people are out here homeless. And it's not the fact that they don't have ID, so they can't get services. These are some of the wraparound programs that are problems that assist that the wraparound program should be doing. People don't have ID to go get assistance.
Yeah.
If you become homeless, you're vulnerable out here to the element of your stuff being stolen. So that's another issue. Mothers with kids don't really want to go tell somebody that they're homeless because their kids will be taking their place into the system.
Say that.
A lot of
Say that,
people,
goddess.
Wow.
a lot of
Say
people
that.
are not understanding this is a deep situation. Also, I remember it was a time my daughter, she was born on a breathing machine. And I mean, she had a breathing machine, and I was in law school. I had a full scholarship, but I was on Section 8 and welfare. Okay, I get $234 a month, but my utilities were running way more than that, and I think we only got like $200. Well, by the time I bought her milk, which was $96, the Infamil stuff, and by the time I bought all regular food, I was out of food. Now, when my utilities got cut off, I lost all my food. People don't realize how that really occurs. This is real life. Then you go try to get you want to get a job, so you get a job. They tell you, oh, your car, because you got to put everything that you own. Oh, your car, you need to sell your car, and so if I sell my car, I don't have no thing. I gotta go. How am I gonna get around? Because my car is $500 over the limit that they want it to be. But as a woman, if I go get a jalopy, then I got to worry about keep my jalopy fixed and running. So therefore, you ain't getting daycare. And who's going to keep your child? These are things that people limit. And it's not that they give up. It's not that they give up. They've been told no so many times that nobody's telling them yes.
Wow. That's good. That's good. And that's true. That's true. We got to get ready to get out of here. It's already 10:15, man. This has been a great broadcast. I love what we did. There's the first time I was doing that with the scenario. We're probably going to do it, visit again with different scenarios. Anybody have anything real quickly they would like to say before we get out of here?
Yes, Raheem. Proverbs 29:2. I like the international versions, the way it puts it. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bears rule, the people mourn. What is in your will is to vote and to do the best you can to get righteous people into these positions of authority so we can further realize a beloved community.
Absolutely.
You can't vote for people and say you for right and then vote for somebody that want to take away rights from mothers in certain situations. You know, it's so clear to the righteous on what needs to be done, but we fight against principalities in high places. I have passed out of the just like Jesus, standing in front of courts of military justice, accused of things that I did not do. And if I had to go to jail, at least I'd be sitting there for righteousness' sake. But God saw fit to touch the heart of the judge to say, let that man go. I'll never stop treating others how I want to be treated. Not how people have treated me, but
Now,
how
preacher.
I want to be treated.
Now, preacher, I say it quickly. Now, preacher. Now, preacher, I say it quickly. Now, look here, now, preacher. Anybody else have anything they want to say before we get out of here?
What y'all know about Focus Hope?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody remember that? Focus Hope? I don't know if that was just a Detroit thing or not. Got that government peanut butter, government cheese.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up.
Come on,
Boy,
man.
you talking
Had to
now?
stir
You
up my
talking
own
now?
peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
I'm from Saginaw, Michigan.
Stir up that peanut butter before you ate it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hey, Ryan, you hear what Leonard
But that
said?
cheese now, that cheese was off the chain. I'm telling you right now, Ryan. That dang government cheese, we made some of the best grilled cheese sandwiches on the
Yes,
planet.
Lord. Yes, Lord.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey.
Yes, ma'am. And we had to use a coat hanger to do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You heard what Leonard said? He said he's from Saginaw, Michigan. He said he definitely know about that.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
you still get it here and there. So in a few places they still got it, but it ain't as abundant as it used to be.
Man, I wish I knew somewhere to have. I go
I
buy
bet
me
you that peanut butter from the 80s.
Man, I wish
From
I
the
knew.
80s, Dave. Oh my God.
I wish I knew who had that cheese, man. I go buy me some of that cheese, man. I love that cheese, man. That was some good cheese there. I don't know what they put
And
in it.
remember when you got off that system, you still went and tried to buy it from people that was on the system?
Yeah. Give me that cheese.
Yes.
Man, look here. Get some of that cheese for me. Just get some of that cheese. I give you what you need. Give me some of that cheese. But listen.
I'd like to throw something out there real quick, please.
Real quickly, Badger. We got to get out of here.
Even though you're in a tough situation, I really hope that the person that's in that tough situation doesn't give up on that trust in God.
Mm-hmm.
You might not get help right then and there, but it always comes at some point when you need it.
Absolutely.
You will always be provided for, no matter how tough your situation is.
Amen. Amen. Anybody else real quickly? Before we get out of here?
Yeah, you know, I heard earlier that and I'm one of the main people that'll say this how bad capitalism is, but I have to reframe and start, redressing how I say that, because capitalism, democracy, all of these systems, the judicial system, all of these systems and institutions that exist, they really could work if they really existed in love, fairness, and righteousness and respect. I think really and truly, some of these things that are in place, they wouldn't be so bad if they weren't corrupted by mankind and that spirit of selfishness. But if they really were rooted in righteousness and love and respect, capitalism would work. Communism would probably even work if it was rooted in complete respect and love and righteousness.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's the will of man that has some of these things, and the will of men in control of these systems that really corrupt them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said, brother, what's going on at 3:00 today?
If you missed today's show and would like to hear us see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Now, how did y'all like that court thing? Did y'all like that, or was that good, or is that something we should?
Believe it or not, I didn't even really like it. And I'm studying for to take my LSAT.
Man, cut that mess out. I ain't even like it, man. I ain't like it. What everybody else think? Anybody liked it? Disliked it? Nobody.
I think it was good.
Good deal.
I think it was good. It's a different scenario from the day to day for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Add something different in there. There you go. Good deal. Let me see. Toussaint, are you there?
Yeah.
Let me see. Toussaint. I gotta say it like that. But pray us out, brother.
Okay, God, Father, we thank you. We give you praise, honor, and glory, just for who you are. And God, help us. We thank you for this conversation and this panel and the listeners, that you would allow us to show mercy right where we are. Give us your mercy and give us your grace. Bless us as we go through this day. Keep us in your care. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, it's been another great week. Y'all got another great week in the basket. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:21. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me.
Wait,
Yes.
I forgot. Can we just mention the event tomorrow?
Yeah, you know we can, right? But she gonna come right in the middle of my closing. I'm in the middle.
I know.
Man,
I'm so tired. I forgot.
man.
You know you need to have them announcements in before Sunday service.
Exactly.
Yes, we need to have announcements like the
Exactly.
church. Like the
But
church.
no. I think he was talking to you. He said you late getting your announcement in. I think that's what he's saying right now.
I know it.
Yeah,
Well, it
okay.
ain't too late to get the announcement in. I said so.
Oh Lord, cause I said so. Cause I said it. I said it. Go ahead, get your announcement in. You know you can do that. Go ahead.
Really quickly, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry, and I won't do it again, maybe. But tomorrow we're having the Moores Ford Bridge in honor of Black History Month. We're doing the Moores Ford Bridge lynching that I direct. We're doing it as a play tomorrow in Atlanta. It's free. It's a free event. So, please, if you're available in your Atlanta area, come out. It's 3:00 in the afternoon at the James Orange Rec Center. So it's going to be beautiful. We're having a reception afterwards in honor of civil rights activist Mr. Nathan Knight, who's 75. Yes. So if you don't have anything to do, come and hang out with me tomorrow.
Good deal. And I'm gonna be there. So if you come by, come up and shake my hand. Say hello. Say my name is Blase, and I'm gonna say my name is Raheem, the question asker. That's who I am. But listen, let me get back into this thing now. But it's gonna be a great event, man. If y'all get an opportunity, if y'all in and around this area or come into this area, make sure you make yourself available and come out and enjoy. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. Now it is 10:23. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light in you for the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please be blessed. Talk to you Monday morning. God say the same. Show somebody some love and truth. They would appreciate it, and I'm sure that you will as well. Have a great weekend. Love ya. Peace.